Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on.
Presented by your local Super Chevy dealers and Yingling Flight.
This is LSU football.
Nussmeier, plenty of time in the pocket. It holds the throw to the end zone. Caught at the goal line, falling in backwards. Xavion Thomas, touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Takes the snap, looks left, quick fire, intercepted at the 43-yard line. Coming near side, it's a race to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Touchdown, Deshaun Spears.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Tiger Stadium.
It's the LSU Tigers and the Southeastern Lions.
Now,
Here's Charles Hanagriff and Matt Musso.
Is corner of Burbank and Lee. Welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with Matt Musso and our entire staff at the flagship as we get you ready for tonight's game between the LSU Tigers and the Southeastern Lions. LSU comes in with a record of 3-0. They're ranked third in the nation by the AP, fourth by the coaches. And last week the Tigers got out of Tiger Stadium with a 20-10 win over the Florida Gators. LSU to this point in the season has 3 wins. They also have an offense that's got a lot of question marks. More on that in a second. But a lights-out defense and a very good special teams that have them at the top 5 in the country. Southeastern comes into tonight's game with a record of 2-1. Last week they beat Mississippi Valley 56-3. They also have a common opponent. LSU beat Louisiana Tech 23-7 in week 2. The Lions lost to Louisiana Tech 24-0 in week number 1. The objectives for this game are pretty clear, and this was not an entirely uninteresting week for LSU football, despite the fact that they're out of conference this week. On Monday, Brian Kelly disclosed that Garrett Nussmeier has been dealing with a torso injury. Never in the history of the state of Louisiana has a torso been so quietly scrutinized as Garrett Nussmeier's torso this week. Kelly says he's getting better. He's on the other side of this injury. But he also said he won't be completely healed of this probably until after the bye week. Nobody knows how much this injury hurts except for Garrett Nussmeier himself. Kelly, Nussmeier, and the training staff have decided that it is better for him to play today, stay in a rhythm, and try to get through this than to sit out the game and rest before they go to Ole Miss next week. We'll see how that works out. For the rest of LSU, the objective here is very clear. Get out of this game healthy. Try to get the offense going and get some momentum moving into Oxford next week. And try to get some young players in the game if at all possible. For Southeastern, the objective of this game is very clear. This paycheck that they receive represents a significant amount of their athletic budget, according to published reports, somewhere around 5%. It's not something that their head coach, Frank Selfo, is particularly enamored with doing, as he told our Matt Moscona during the week. But it is for schools in the FCS a necessary evil, if you will, as far as budget goes. Like LSU, they'd like to get out of here injury-free. They'd like to get out of here with their budget intact, and if they can get some players into the game that, well, would have wanted to play in Tiger Stadium, but they're playing for Southeastern, and it doesn't mean they're not good football players, but this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play on this stage. There are games that the anticipation is huge. There are games that you circle on the calendar from the moment the schedule is out. Those games where you wake up in the morning and the blood's flowing and the excitement level is at its zenith. This is not that game. This is the game that you have to get through. And for LSU and Southeastern, they start getting through it in about 5 hours. Similar objectives, believe it or not, in this game in Tiger Stadium. We're glad that you're with us here today. We've got a lot of information for you. Lots going on in college football in a very entertaining first window, and nothing more on my mind than what's going on at Clemson, South Carolina, because if you're watching that, you can't possibly take a positive from it where LSU is concerned. LSU had 356 yards and 17 points at Clemson. Syracuse has 303 yards and 24 points at the half. That game is in a weather delay right now, but Clemson is behind 24-14 in their own building, and they're already 1-2. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on there. We'll take a break here live at Rouse's, where your game day, they want to cover your game day spread. Come on over here all of your beer, all of your wine, all of your spirits, lots of ice. You can get things in the deli, the bakery, the Mongolian Grill, the Chop House, the Chef's Collection, all of your tailgating supplies here at Rouse's, just a very short drive to Tiger Stadium. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers along with traffic and weather.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Offense. Presented by Gulf Coast Bank. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you. Now from the LSU Sports Radio Network, here's Gordy Rush.
Our LeBears countdown to kickoff, about 4 hours and 50 minutes, as the Bet ESPN Sportsbook is your game day headquarters here for LSU football. Gordy, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon.
All right. We're going to talk about offense. So this is the immaculate torso, I guess, this week, as everybody's been watching the progress of Garrett Nussmeier. Walk me through this. I know nobody but Nussmeier knows exactly how this thing feels, but walk me through this, Gordy, the idea that playing him is a better way to work through this injury than sitting him today.
Well, look, I don't know the extent of the injury, how specific it is. I can tell you, I think Matt Moscona disclosed, I think he got word on the Friday before the Clemson game that it existed. It did not existed. The rumor was out there, I should say. And, I watched him warm up at Clemson. I thought he did, he did probably 70% of what he normally does. He didn't do his full warm up, and I've seen him now for 2 years and warm up. And so I didn't think much of it. And I don't think anything jumped out at me. But, look, I don't know. I'm taking Kelly at his word, Coach Kelly at his word right now that it's on the way to recovery. And I think what you're juggling right now is that you have an offense that has to get in rhythm before you go to Oxford next week versus just sitting him and taking the week off and risking going into Oxford not playing football. And I'm guessing it's well enough that they feel like the not taking this week off is more detrimental than playing through it.
He has not thrown the ball deep. Now, we had written off through the first couple of weeks of the season that LSU not throwing the ball down the field very much was a result of the defenses that they were seeing. A lot of too high looks, and there were other receivers in the game that were better blockers and maybe one or two of their deep threats. And so LSU just wasn't throwing the ball down the field. Then we saw the pass against Louisiana Tech that was wide open and Nussmeier badly underthrew. And all of this starts to make a lot of sense. But Brian Kelly didn't have to say anything on Monday. He could have kept quiet about this and just kind of let us dangle. The fact that he actually went out and said this, if he goes out and says this, Gordy, and Nussmeier can't throw the ball past 30 yards, well, then you're going to have defenses crowded for the rest of the season. I can't imagine he discloses that without some confidence that Nussmeier will be able to throw the ball down the field from this point forward.
No, I agree. Yeah, and I think we'll learn a little bit more here in short term. But 100%. Well, on the flip side, look, I think all these defensive coordinators chose to play LSU the way they did based off the personnel that they know that's out there at wide receiver, and then when Trudez is healthy, that they decided to play coverage. And then, again, that if my defense has had success limiting your run without me having to allocate extra defenders to the box, why would I? I mean, the big plays against Florida, I think two of the times they actually brought some people. Or they decided to get a little aggressive and play man coverage, the one in which Sharp was able to get through, on a touchdown. And then they got cute and tried to run a zone blitz and showed blitz, dropped defensive linemen, and Anderson got behind them. Without a doubt, LSU has tremendous wide receivers. Everybody knows that. And they can beat you in more ways than one, and they can do other things by just running instead of just running past you. You get the ball to them in space and they can beat you. I don't know that it really changes people other than there's no reason to squat quite as deep, and I think that becomes that becomes a challenge. You've got to be able to stretch the field a little bit.
They're also trying to get the running game going. This is a rush attack that is decimal points away from being last in the Southeastern Conference. So they're trying to get that going. The big run that they busted at the end of last week came out of an I formation of all things. Gordy, can this be a part of the attack going forward? Keeping in mind two things. Number one, they got to get under center to run this thing, and they don't do a whole lot of that, not that they can't. And the second thing is they had a defensive lineman playing fullback last week, not that they can't do that. But this, if you're going to really implement this as a part of your offense, you got to dedicate some time and personnel to it.
Well, it does. I mean, and if you run Pyburn out on the field, it's going to throw off a red flag. Look, I think that was a one-off. And it was a short yardage situation. They had Bauer Sharp and Pyburn in the backfield, and they were able to get the edge late in the football game. And it was 51 yards, and you take that run out, LSU rushed 24 times for 42 yards, right? I think that's what the numbers come up. And they're going to have to be better with that. When I went back and looked at the film on Tuesday, the full piece of it's just, you're getting the numbers that you want to dictate. I think when you want to run the football, it's being better, being better with your blocks, not having one missed assignment. And it's a little bit of everything. I think there were times the running backs went through the wrong hole. I think it's all about executing better the entire running game tonight. It's number one for Brian Kelly in this offense, I think, is they've got to be able to get out there and run with a little bit better success.
And I agree with you on the Pyburn piece, but there's other guys. I'm thinking specifically about the tight ends.
Bauer Sharp was out there, too.
Bauer Sharp was out there, too. Donovan Green may very well be the best blocking tight end that they have. They could use him, too. Gordy, there may have been some times where the running backs missed holes. There were times when there weren't holes. There were
a little bit of everything. Look, a little bit of just not cohesive. And again, this is why you want these games like Southeastern tonight. It becomes very important that you get out and execute at a high level, because you're gonna have enough challenges going on the road in that environment next week.
So give me a game plan for what you want to get accomplished here. There's a lot that you can work on. Richard Dixon used the term, he says, correction game. He says these are correction games where you start to correct some of the things you work on. I like the moniker. You work on the things that you haven't done as well. So give me a working game plan for Southeastern.
Well, for me, there's been two times, and without getting into particulars, I need to take advantage of the numbers that the defense gives me. If I've got even numbers in the box, I need to be able to run the ball with success. And if they don't, they challenge me otherwise, or if they're going to back up and give me soft zones, I want to be able to take care of that. For me, I think narrowing down kind of the personnel groupings and what you're going to run in the play sheet. You've run a lot of stuff in 3 weeks, and like, here's who we are, and here's what we're gonna try to be able. We want to do today in this football game. And to me, I think they've got to start with some sort of physicality on the offensive line. This is a smaller team. You should be able to run the football on them. You were not able to do that against Louisiana Tech. You struggled, over those two big runs against Louisiana Tech. I think the physicality on that offensive line is a good place to start.
All right, with physicality then, Gordy, I want to ask you this, because earlier this week I was kind of deep diving through Pro Football Focus grades for LSU through the first 3 games, and specifically in the running game. And look, we know LSU's a heavy zone team, and that's fine, but all 5 of their offensive linemen consistently graded out better, not great, but better in a gap running scheme. I hate to be the guy like, could we see more of that? But, I mean, could we start to see more of that if they are grading out better there?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to my reference, Musso, and what are you doing well, right? Let's do more of what you're doing well, and maybe not as multiple, and maybe is not as many, packages. And I think one of the things for me, there were times, I will tell you this, we've done a lot of substitution packages. LSU's done a lot of sub packages. I'd like to see more times where you go with a little bit more of tempo, right? Not going so deep into play count and what have you. That means locking into the same personnel group. And, hey, this is who we're going to are for these 2 or 3 plays. And if you get to 3rd and 16, great. Then you got to change out some personnel with that. But I'd like to see a little bit more tempo. To me, Garrett Nussmeier has always performed better when he's gotten in rhythm, and that's been a little bit tempo. And that going back to last year, we hadn't seen a whole lot this year.
You can buy Rouse's Marcus brand products here, the best quality at the best price, and they stack up against the leading national brands that Rouse's sells, but at a lower price. Most of the Rouse's Marcus brand is made right here at home, but Rouse's also travels the world to bring in the best, and they personally taste, try, and guarantee everything in their brand. So if the Rouse's Market name is on the label, you can trust that it's good. Back to talk defense with Gordy here at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders. We're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Defense. Presented by Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Now from the LSU Sports Radio Network, here's Gordy Rush.
Our Bears Casino countdown to kickoff, about 4 hours and 40 minutes. Make ESPN bet at LeBears your game day headquarters. Gordy, the defense has been outstanding. There's not a lot to scrutinize here, but I do want to talk about Devon Keys because I was so impressed with him a week ago. I thought this would have been a great performance if Whit Weeks had been hurt, okay, and ruled out of this game or whatever, suspended for the hit. And he had known all week, Keys I'm talking about, that he was going to start and he was going to be in there and it was going to. But he gets thrown in there on the third play of the game, the fourth play of the game, and he ends up leading LSU in tackles. In fact, he's LSU's leading tackler through 3 weeks, and he's not even listed as a starter. Gordy, that's not only great athleticism and great execution. I think it shows a great deal of maturity for the young man to be ready when his number was called. I was really impressed with his performance last week.
No, I was impressed with him last year. The times that he got thrown out there, I thought he was fantastic. And I had a chance this summer. He was working out over the Legion's extra time over and above. He was spending extra time over and above what they do at LSU football and speed, just his straight speed, trying to get it down. And he, tremendous athlete, mature, and is really technically sound. I think we talked about, we talked about how wonderful athlete Harold Perkins was coming to LSU, and he was a pass rush linebacker and really wasn't polished as inside linebacker, and it's taken a couple of years to get to that point. I mean, rarely do you get somebody like Keys that's fundamentally sound, plays inside linebacker, inside out, patient. He's fantastic.
Like I said, there's not a whole lot to scrutinize here, so we're basically talking about what you're working on and what can get better at this point, and who is in line to carve out even more playing time, because there is so much depth on this group that nobody is being, I don't think, overworked. So there's one or two guys that stand out to you as like, look, this guy's coming on, and there's even more playing time in the future for him.
Look, I want to play the younger linebackers more, right? And, you're not sure of, West and how long he's out. And I think this is a game that you want to get them experience. So I'm looking at Singleton and then Zach Weeks. I think it's big that they play. The second line of defensive backs, you know what the ones can do. The twos, because it's a long season, you want to be able to do that. I mean, I think you say that across the board with that. Southeastern has two quarterbacks. One's a thrower. They got out of the portal from Sacramento State and also South Dakota. And then they have a dual threat, a runner out of Georgia State. Look, I think next week against Ole Miss, we talk about Lane Kiffin, and they've got a tough game against Tulane coming up here at 2:30. But Lane Kiffin wants to spread the run. So I think anything with some of these younger people tonight, getting a chance to play against, Southeastern's not, I don't think they're going to come in here and throw it 60 times, right? They're about to start Southland Conference play. We've heard Frank Selfo on 104.5 ESPN this week. He's realistic of what's going on. He's going to try to run the football. I think getting some young people some experience against a spread to run, that if you need them against Ole Miss, that's a good thing.
Gordy, the psychology of these games, we all know what this is for. We all understand that this is something that you've got to go through for both programs. LSU needs a gate, and they need an opponent that doesn't want to return trips. Southeastern needs this for their budget, and everybody wants to get this thing healthy and move along. But there's all kind of degrees about how you can play, and we've seen this. LSU last year slogged around with Nichols. It was 23-21 in the third quarter. The last time Southeastern was here, I believe it was 17-0 going into the fourth quarter, or maybe 24-0 going into the fourth quarter. That one ended up 31-0. On the other hand, we saw them completely blow out Grambling, Southern, Army. The other games where they just completely blew the doors down. So how do you handle the psychology if you're Brian Kelly with this team? I mean, those players, they understand what this game is.
Yeah, and coaches won't tell you that we're going to take it 1 week at a time. We're going to talk about Southeastern. The reality is people know what's coming up next week, right? And you get a chance next week to go 5-0 and against Ole Miss. And I think the mindset is going to be different from after that Clemson game, the emotion of that Clemson football game, to come back and the energy just wasn't the same against Louisiana Tech at the time. I think they looked flat, but they weren't sharp in that football game, where this has got to be a tune-up. We've got to go out there, and what we talked about in the first segment about executing at a higher level offensively and getting Nussmeier in some sort of rhythm. And then defensively, let's make sure our 2s and 3s are going to be able to identify similar type offense. Frank spreads it out. Southeastern spreads it out. He's got a thrower. He's got a runner. Same sort of stuff you're going to see next week. How many people can we get out there and get with some energy and be assignment sharp and take care of what the different looks you're going to get tonight?
After the Clemson game, Clemson played Troy. They were losing 16-0, I believe it was. They came back, roared back in the second half. They said, okay, hangover from the LSU game. Everything's fine. Then they went to Georgia Tech, lost on a 55-yard field goal on the last play of the game. Okay, look, Georgia Tech's pretty good. The game's on the road. They feel rushed. The kid hits a 55-yard field goal. That's fantastic. Everything's fine. Clemson is losing to Syracuse 24-14 at home at the half in a game that's delayed. And Gordy, Syracuse has already put up more yards and more points. More points and within 50 of more yards that LSU did in the entire game at the half. So what I think we can officially start saying, Clemson is not just overrated, but we don't know if they're any good at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched some of this first half of the football game. I mean, Syracuse has spread the football field and picked Clemson apart throwing the football. I mean, it's been impressive on that side of it. And then for whatever reason, Clemson, as dynamic as they were offensively in the back half of last year, they've not been able to find that this year, and they've sputtered. And obviously Klubnik is struggled. His guy was the number one Heisman candidate, projected as the number one NFL draft pick, and I still think he's a fine quarterback, but he didn't play into it. So Clemson, no doubt, it's been disappointing. I go back to something I've told you, every time I've spoke here in the last 2 months, and then what you and I've had a chance to talk about. In this age of revenue share, right, especially your power conferences, there's not going to be any more great teams, right? Rarely are you going to have a great team like Alabama is. Right, and you're never going to have bad teams anymore. So the 3-9 Vanderbilt that we were used to, that goes away. Everybody's got money now. Everybody in the SEC's got $18 million, and everybody's bunched closer together. And I think we're starting to see that now. That each and every week you're going to have more upsets, I believe, and you have more parity in college football than you did 5 years ago.
I will say this about Syracuse. This is a very good year for quarterbacks in the ACC. You had Klubnik and Carson Beck, who were preseason way up there in the Heisman ratings. You've got Darian Mensah from Duke, who was outstanding at Tulane a year ago. Tommy Castellanos at FSU plays the big game against Alabama. Sagapulatelli, the terrific freshman out at Cal. I love C.J. Bailey at NC State. With all of that, the leading passer going into this week was Steve Angeli at Syracuse, who's thrown for right under 1,100 yards and carved up Clemson in that first half. So he's having a very good year to this point. Gordy, have a great call. Your good weather fortune continues, so enjoy the night, and we'll talk to you in postgame.
Okay, guys, thank you.
We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has grown, milled, and processed their rice in southwest Louisiana. So you're supporting our Louisiana farmers when you buy Supreme Rice, and you're getting a great product at a terrific price. Try the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine, or the parboiled rice. Also, the low glycemic rice for diabetics is available here at Rouse's. Also at all of your AG food stores, wherever you buy rice. Make sure it's Supreme Rice. And a great thing for tailgating, whether you're doing white beans, red beans, jambalaya, etouffees, anything you make with rice, make it with Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Live from Rouse's, this is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Recruiting with Shay Dixon from On3 Sports. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team.
Our LaBerge count down the kickoff about 4.5 hours from now. Let ESPN Bet at LaBerge be your game day headquarters. We're here at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. We bring in Shay Dixon. Shay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Charlie?
Doing fantastic. So the big news of the week in recruiting was Peyton Houston, the quarterback from Evangel, a 2027 recruit, at least for now. This is one of the quarterbacks in the 2027 class. There's 2 others. I know we're going to talk about them. But this was a big get for LSU. It's made a lot of national headlines and made the ESPN ticker, all that. So tell us about Peyton Houston at Evangel.
He's got ESPN as ranked as the #1 quarterback in the class for 2027, which is this group of guys who are just now juniors. And look, Houston is I think the only slight on him is you could say he's 5'10", a little over 200 pounds. But we've seen guys that size have success in college at quarterback. And, boy, if his high school highlights and stats and everything else, Charlie, have anything to say about it, he'll be a good one. I mean, I think when he transferred over to Evangel a year ago, he had set the 5A passing record with Evangel. And obviously some quarterbacks have come out of Evangel back in the day through now, let alone the whole state. So to throw for 4,500 yards was a big deal. And look, he had one game where he threw for, and they lost to Captain Shreve, 77-76. It's like a college basketball score, but threw for 817 yards and 8 touchdowns. And I was talking with Charles Power, our Rivals National Scouting and Rankings Director this week about Peyton Houston, and he said, look, when you throw it 60 times a game, you're going to put up big numbers if you're a really good player. And this is a guy who chose LSU over USC with Lincoln Riley, OU. That staff had really pressed for him, but at the same time, as Charles was saying, LSU is going to get a guy who ultimately has a lot of reps already under his belt, and you get a lot of chances to fine-tune your game. And he's probably, as Charles said, one of the more polished quarterbacks out there in the 27 class. So a really nice way to start the dominoes in state for next year. Your first commit is also a quarterback who's one of the best in the country.
How big a concern is the height? Let's call him 5'10" and a half right now. And he's a junior. I'm not saying he couldn't show up here 2 inches taller, in 2 years from now. But how big a concern is that?
I think that it's only as big as a concern as you make it. He's a guy who he can pocket mobile. He's not a big scrambler. He wants to sit back there and throw it. But at the same time, you look, and I think people think, 5'10", 5'11", that range, and they directly, you got recruited by Lincoln Riley and OU, Kyler Murray. But as I said, I was talking to Charles Power, our director of recruiting this week, and Charlie, here's his comp. And he said, look, I remember him in high school through now, and it was Chris Leak, who, a bit undersized at Florida, but obviously, boy, could he throw the football, and they had some really great teams. And she went 2000, BCS National Championship game. They won. So I think the comp here is a guy like that. You'd hope that, in that 5'11", 5'10", 6-foot range, somewhere in there, that he's kind of good enough at the college level to where that translates from high school right over to LSU. If he is good enough, and everybody seems to think that he is, that's fine. He's about Bryce Young size. So it's not like this has never been done by – he's probably a little smaller than Johnny Manziel, but not much. So we've seen at the college level. The NFL level, that's different. But at the college level, if you're good enough, you can play at this height. Shay, he is a 27 commitment. Is there any chance that he reclassifies for 26? I guess there's always a chance. I haven't heard that as a definitive yet. The talk kind of behind the scenes has been more so, look, you didn't sign a quarterback this past cycle out of high school when Underwood flipped in, the 11th hour on you. And this cycle, they don't have a high school quarterback committed yet either. And then Peyton Houston's in the next cycle. So the conversation is kind of, hey, do they take 2 quarterbacks next year? And obviously that discussion is heightened a bit given that Peyton Houston's a top 10 quarterback, another top 10 quarterbacks right here in Baton Rouge at Dunham and Elijah Haven. And then another top 10 quarterback is not only in East Texas, but he's got a last name Nussmeier. So Garrett's the younger brother coming through Marcus High now. It remains uncommitted. So if they do wind up taking 2, and I do think that probably Houston sticks in that class, we'll see. But as I said, if they do take 2, and I've still got an eye on one of those guys.
Well, okay, and that's fantastic. But Shay, you've been covering recruiting for a long time. Top 10 quarterbacks, 2 of them don't sign at the same school. I mean, I think the last time I can remember that happening was maybe, Peyton Manning, and I'm trying to remember the kid that signed and ended up at A&M. Give me a minute, I'll think of his name. But 2 top 10 quarterbacks are not going to sign at the same school. So how do you approach, if you're LSU, recruiting Colton Nussmeier and Elijah Haven at this point?
I think you just keep going. Look, there's what happens if a guy like Peyton Houston decommits and goes somewhere else or whatever it is, or if he reclassifies, as you said, and now it becomes a moot point that they would need a quarterback for the 27 class. So I think you got to stay on them both, which is kind of what they did with all 3 of those guys. They became the priority targets, and Houston was just the first one to say, hey, I'm ready to commit, and made some visits. And and popped. So I think that they won't give up on those guys. They'll stay on them. And look, I'm with you, Charlie. It's tough to stay signed to, even more so in the portal era, where guys at all times are kind of looking over their shoulders saying, hey, are you going to take a guy from somewhere else who comes in and kind of gets all the reps?
Maybe one other time, and this was a really strange recruiting year, and you'll remember this, Shay. LSU got a commitment from a kid named Robert Lane, this would have been about 2002, I believe, and he was 2 years out. He was the number one quarterback in Mississippi. He was also an outstanding baseball player. LSU kept recruiting other quarterbacks. They eventually would sign Matt Flynn in that class, who said, I don't care who signs, I'm going to LSU. And then up until the very last minute on signing day, they continued to recruit Jamarcus Russell. And Nick Saban told Robert Lane that unless you guarantee me you're not going to play baseball, then I'm going to keep recruiting other quarterbacks. Lane would never tell him that he wouldn't play baseball. They kept recruiting Russell. They ended up getting Russell and Flynn. Lane went to Ole Miss, ended up playing fullback, and never played baseball. So I've seen that one. I had to jog my memory a little bit of two top quarterbacks in the same class. At the same time, that's been over 20 years ago, so it's a little bit of a different landscape. Shay, let's move on to what's going on campus today and the prospects that you got on campus today, and how many visitors?
Yeah, it'll be a lighter load, obviously sandwiched in between a game like Florida a week ago where they had the who's who, everybody in town from commits to five-star uncommitted guys, both seniors and beyond. This is a lot of commits, but I'll give you two of them. One here in town that I don't think enough people are kind of paying attention to yet. And look, Lamar Brown is your five-star. He's now the number one player in the country, regardless of position over at U-High. But the team that they battled with last night, Catholic, has a guy who's ranked as a top 15 running back in Jaden Miles for next year, an on-300 player, a Rivals 300 player. And he has stacked up college offers. I mean, from SEC schools to, Florida State and everybody into the Sunshine State. So he's a guy I'd watch for, just because we know in these next couple of cycles they are going to want to stack up on running backs. And the other is Albert Simeon, who he's over in Lake Charles, and they've had a run of signing, top offensive linemen. We've seen, like most recently, Carius Kern was the number one interior lineman, five-star coming in. And we've got Albert Simeon for that junior class ranked as the number one interior lineman in the country and a top 10 overall player. I mean, he is 6'3", probably 6'3.5", pushing 265, 270 as a high school junior. And his offer list is just kind of, again, the who's who of it. So those guys weren't, at least Albert Simeon was not at the Florida game. So I think you would circle him as, hey, as you start to build this class beyond Peyton Houston, get these Louisiana guys in, because Charlie, it seems like we say this every few years, but it's true. Louisiana is one of the best per capita at turning out college players, and they've already got double-digit. I think 13 kids who are juniors in high school now are ranked in the Rivals 300, which I think that's the best, highest per capita, and all 13 have LSU offers. So you got one of them in. You got the quarterback, Elijah Haven. Get guys like Albert Simeon, who's in early five-star range, on campus as much as you can, and you start building out the trenches even more.
Shay, what's coming up after the game from On 3?
Well, hopefully talking about a blowout win here, which, look, I predicted no points for Southeastern. I think that they're going to not even try field goals if they're getting into that range and try to push for points. But we'll catch up with all the guys, and really it's kind of this feeling, Charlie, and we'll see what happens with Ole Miss today. But a lot of these recruits are kind of not only impressed by this 4-0 start, but, hey, how far can LSU take it? And, boy, they get past today. We'll see what this Tulane-Ole Miss game looks like. But you roll up into Oxford, perhaps against, once again, a Kiffin team that may or may not be undefeated. So I think a lot of these recruits are keeping an eye on kind of where LSU goes from here, and ahead of that bye week. Boy, next week's a big one.
You hear what he did there, Musso? He's already got LSU at 4-0.
I heard that.
That's optimistic. He skipped right over the game, man.
Called a shutout too.
Yeah.
I did not put Ole Miss at undefeated, though. I said, well, we'll see what happens with Tulane.
LSU, right. No, Tulane's got a good team. That was all Ole Miss could do to beat them in New Orleans last year. Tulane is live today, I think. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but I think that's going to be really, really competitive up in Oxford. Shay, we always appreciate it. Thanks for checking in, and we'll talk to you next week when the Tigers are in Oxford.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good day.
Shay Dixon from On 3. We're here at Rouse's. Again, all of your game day specials here at Rouse's. Tailgating doesn't have to be complicated when you got Rouse's in your corner. Make it easy to cover the spread from party trays and dips to fried chicken, wings, and mini sandwiches. Rouse's has got all the fan favorites ready to roll. And if you want to fire up the grill, grab fresh burgers, sausage, boudin, marinated meats right here from the butcher. Also, all your chips, desserts, soft drink, beer, wine, and their famous slow melt ice. They can even cover the paper plates, napkins, and utensils. One trip, everything you need. Cover the spread here at Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Epic Paving College Football Scoreboard. Epic Paving, Louisiana's preferred paving vendor.
All right, we start with games in the 11 o'clock window that are winding down. Number 17, Texas Tech leads number 16, Utah, 27-10. 2.5 minutes to go in Salt Lake City. This is going to be a really impressive win for Texas Tech that has controlled the action throughout the game. They have picked Devin Dampier off twice for Utah. They've really piled it on here in the fourth quarter. Texas Tech is sort of the experiment case. Can you build a team financed from what has been a sort of a mid-range program to an elite program? They've got plenty money, and they're spending plenty money. They will win a softball national championship or die trying, and they're putting plenty money into this football program as well.
This is an incredibly impressive win for them. I'll be honest, I was doubting them for that reason. I mean, well, not for that reason. They hadn't played anybody yet. I mean, their combined opponents were 2-7. They're going into Rice-Eccles, and I get it. Utah hadn't really played anybody either, but they looked like a Utah, Kyle Whittingham team. the way Texas Tech's defense, 4 turnovers forced, less than 300 yards given up, they have flat out dominated this game on the road. And between them and Iowa State right now, they look like the class of the Big 12.
And they put the finishing touches here just inside of the 2-minute warning. They throw another touchdown pass, so now make it 33-10 Texas Tech. Memphis has come all the way back. They were trailing Arkansas 28-10 in this game. They've come all the way back. Memphis now has the lead and the ball with less than a minute to go in Memphis against Arkansas. It's 32-31 Tigers. They have the ball first down and 10. I'm not sure the timeout situation for Arkansas, but Memphis, from a deficit of 18 points, now has the lead with less than a minute to go. This next score is just distressing, okay, if you're an LSU fan. Syracuse is leading Clemson 24-14 at the half. They've been at the half for well over an hour now in a weather delay. But in this first half, Syracuse piled up over 300 yards of total offense and 24 points. LSU got 17 points and 350 yards, I think 353 of offense for an entire game. Steve Angeli, quarterback for Syracuse, we talked earlier, leading the ACC in passing coming into this game, threw for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. I have no idea when they're going to get going again, but when they do, Clemson's going to be a 10-point hole.
I'll tell you why it's distressing to me, too, is because of what you led with, the yardage and the points that Syracuse put up. I think when we watched the first 3 weeks from Clemson, the thing we kind of kept falling back on is, okay, yeah, their offense isn't quite what we thought it would be, but that defense is living up to the billing. Today, it is not, and the frustration really showing from Dabo Swinney's squad, and there's roughing the passer, dead ball fouls. They're not in it at all up there in Clemson.
UNLV erased a 14-point deficit going into the fourth quarter, and now they lead it 41-38 over Miami of Ohio. Less than 10 seconds to go in that game. UNLV's body clock probably thinks that it's yesterday or something, but they woke up in the fourth quarter and put 17 on the board. North Texas and Army are headed to overtime. They are tied at 38. Number 15, Tennessee, no problems with UAB. 56-17 is the score early in the fourth quarter in Knoxville. Third quarter score: Central Michigan leads Wagner 49-3. Oregon State and Oregon are tied at 7. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. And you wonder if the number 6 Ducks are peeking ahead just a little bit.
State.
Oregon State's 0-3. They're going to Penn State next week. It's going to be a monster matchup. So you got to wonder if maybe they are peeking ahead just a little bit here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and on your own home field, too, doing that. I mean, you're just going to have the raucous environment up there at the zoo. And, I mean, Oregon's looked about as dominant as any team so far this year. But, man, rivalry, we saw it last week with the backyard brawl. I mean, West Virginia, I mean, Pitt was supposed to be far and away the better team. They outright lose that football game. I think Oregon will pull it out, but, yeah, definitely a big peek ahead spot for them.
I think Oregon will end up winning the game comfortably
yeah.
But they're kind of sloshing through this early. All right, finals from earlier today. Maryland beat Wisconsin 27-10. Badgers at 2-2, and chants from the crowd of fire.
That's tough, man.
Luke Fickell.
That's tough.
I thought he would be better up there.
It's been bad.
Yeah, TCU beat SMU 35-24. Louisville beat Bowling Green 40-17. South Florida blew out South Carolina State 63-14. You know when South Carolina State played South Carolina, they outgained them.
Oh, boy.
They allowed South Carolina State allowed 2 punt return touchdowns and a scoop and score in that game. Virginia Tech, who fired their coach earlier this week, Brent Pry, under an interim whose name I don't know, they beat Wofford today 38. No, it's really not important. 38-6. All right, game's getting underway here in the 2:30 window. Tulane and Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss is getting the start for Ole Miss today in place of Austin Simmons. Thank you. Place of Austin Simmons. Frankly, I'm not sure this isn't an upgrade. Chambliss has played very well in relief of Stevens and Simmons. What can I say? Simmons. Okay.
Simmons.
Without the turnovers.
Yes.
Simmons got 4 turnovers. Chambliss has no interceptions on the season. Ball State and UConn, James Madison and Liberty. UL Lafayette on the board early against Eastern Michigan, 7-0 Cajuns. Troy and Buffalo, Toledo, Western Michigan, Gardner-Webb, Ohio, Kent State, number 7, Florida State. The one we're going to have our eyes glued to, number 22, Auburn, at number 11, Oklahoma. This is the return of Jackson Arnold, the one-time 5-star recruit signed at Oklahoma, now at Auburn as their starting quarterback, and John Mateer, either the favorite or the co-favorite for the Heisman Trophy right now, the transfer from Washington State, depending on where you look. Can't wait for that one to start. They are about to kick. Number 21, Michigan is at Nebraska. Purdue is at number 24, Notre Dame. Irish trying to get in the win column. North Carolina's at UCF. 3 o'clock kickoff for North Carolina State and Duke. A couple of really good quarterbacks in that one.
Yes.
3:15 kickoff for Northern Illinois and Mississippi State. Bulldogs a 23.5-point favorite to go to 4-0.
4-0.
We all had Mississippi State at 4-0, right?
Everybody.
Temple is at number 18, Georgia Tech. That's 3:30 kick on the CW. 4 o'clock kick for Idaho, San Jose State. 5 o'clock kick for West Virginia at Kansas. Mountaineers under Rich Rodriguez coming off that big upset win against Pitt in the backyard brawl last week that Musso referenced earlier. Delaware at Florida International. Arkansas State at Kennesaw State. Duquesne at Akron. 6 o'clock kickoff for South Carolina at number 23, Missouri. They've been very coy about Lenora Sellers' availability for this game. Missouri has scored 155 points in their first 3 games, and that includes a game against Kansas. It's not all straight rental wins. So Missouri a double-digit favorite there.
Their running back's impressive.
Ahmad Hardy
He's
is
impressive.
number 2 in the nation in rushing. Yeah. They got him from UTSA, and he's averaging over 8 yards a carry through 3 weeks. Murray State is at Jacksonville State, Marshall at Middle Tennessee, UT Martin at Missouri State, Nevada at Western Kentucky. Boise State, seems like they hadn't played in a while, huh? They're only
it does, actually, yeah.
They're at Air Force at a 6 o'clock kick. Maine's at Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina at South Alabama. 6:30 kick, Florida at number 4, Miami. Canes anywhere from a 7.5 to a 9.5 point favorite. The lines moved around a little bit at the end of the week. Carson Beck off to a fantastic start. If Mateer is not your Heisman favorite, then Beck is, depending on, again, where you're looking. Musso, if Miami wins this game by 2 scores or more, I could see Florida making a move tomorrow. In addition to now being below 500 for his career at Florida, Billy Napier in the last 2 weeks has had a player spit on another player, has had an assistant coach go across the field and slap another player for which he's been suspended. You go down here and if you get beat soundly. They have a bye week next week before they play Texas. It would give them a chance to kind of regroup a little bit. I think if they lose this game, there's a chance that Napier doesn't make it out of tomorrow.
I agree with you, and I think it's because of everything else that you said, not just on the field stuff. It's the off the field stuff. They're not together. They're not disciplined. I hate to say lose the team, but I mean, he's definitely not running the show when others are acting like that.
That defense is still playing well.
They're good.
That's a good defense, but the offense, you're seeing the effects of DJ Lagway not having an off season.
Yeah.
Number 9, Illinois is at number 19, Indiana. That's a 6:30 kickoff on NBC. 2 3-0 teams. 2 really good quarterbacks. Luke Altmaier's off to a terrific start for Illinois. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's a real interesting matchup at 6:30. Georgia State's at number 20, Vanderbilt. We'll see if Vandy can handle success. They went to South Carolina and blew the doors off. Now, Sellers left the game early, but they blew the doors off of South Carolina. Didn't they lose this game last year?
Revenge game, too, Hanny. They lost to Georgia State a year ago. So, yeah, this is a big one for Vandy.
September Apple Cup. Washington is at Washington State. 6:30 kick at Virginia. Stanford is at Virginia in Charlottesville, and that is
a conference game.
Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Arizona State's at Baylor at 6:30. BYU making the return trip to Greenville, North Carolina to play East Carolina. Pirates about a touchdown underdog in their own stadium. Southern Miss is at La Tech. Sam Houston's at number 8, Texas, and the Arch Manning development injury. What do we?
That was bad a week ago.
Just watch
that was bad a week ago.
Sam Houston is not good.
No, they're horrible.
They are not good at all. So have at it. McNeese is at Utah State at 7 o'clock. Nichols is at Texas State. 8 o'clock kick for UL Monroe at UTEP. 8:30 kick UTSA at Colorado State. 9:15 for Wyoming at Colorado. 9:30 for Cal at San Diego State. When you get back from the game, this is on CBS Sports Network, and you can go. Javin, Kiawe Sagapulatelli, the freshman lefty for Cal, is really, really good. Michigan State in the Coliseum for the first time since the 1970s. They are at USC, number 25 in the nation. In the late game on the island, Fresno State at 3-1 and Hawaii at 3-1. But alas, no television.
No television. That's a midnight Eastern kick in that football game.
Yeah. We are here at Rouse's. Come by and get all of your game day supplies at Rouse's. Very short drive to Tiger Stadium. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Scouting Report, presented by Demco, providing safe, reliable, and competitively priced energy services to co-op members since 1938.
Welcome back in. Eagle 98.1 Game Day live from the Rouses on Burbank and Lee. Continuing to count you down, LSU Southeastern tonight in Tiger Stadium. Tigers look to move to 4-0 before hitting a gauntlet of SEC play. We go to the Hooters hotline. That's where we find Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, for our scouting report. He's on Twitter at DFabeSB. Of course, you can find the Senior Bowl at Senior Bowl on Twitter. Drew, we appreciate the time for another week. How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great, man. Another victory for the Tigers, 3-0. It's the best start since 2019. People around here are excited, even if it's just an FCS opponent here coming in, looking ahead to that SEC slate that starts in a few weeks, has got people definitely juiced up around here. So what I kind of wanted to do was look at the SEC because of that. Maybe touch on LSU a little, but mainly focus on the Southeastern Conference. Some teams on LSU's schedule, but also not, just players to keep an eye on as the draft approaches here in, about 6 or 7 months' time. Let's start with a team that's on LSU's schedule and a guy for Texas A&M. I think one of the biggest changes so far for the Aggies here in 2025 has been the passing game that was on display a week ago in South Bend, and one of the guys who is front and center there is wide receiver Mario Craver.
Yeah, Mario had a great game against Notre Dame. I think he leads the SEC in total yardage. He's a dynamic, pass receiver. He's young. He's not eligible for the Senior Bowl, but he's been a big impact for them in their pass game. And the quarterbacks also played well, and the running back's actually eligible for the Senior Bowl, and he was actually our stock-up player the week last week with Moss.
I'm glad you brought up Le'Veon Moss. If we could touch there actually for a little bit, because, look, he was off to an incredible start a year ago, gets injured, that kind of hampers him. Now it's been a little bit slower of a start. You mentioned stock-up player. What have y'all seen through 3 weeks that put him in that position?
He's been really impactful, through contact. His yard after contact is really good. The vision was always there. I think he's finally getting his legs back underneath him because his lateral cut ability is, increased, over the course of this season so far. You can kind of tell he's getting more comfortable coming off that injury than he was earlier in the year, and I think he feels more confident now. And you can see it on tape.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about the Aggies. Obviously, they come to Death Valley late October. Let's step off of LSU's schedule real quick and really look at what was, the game of the week in the SEC in week number 3, and that was Tennessee and Georgia. And Chris Brazzell, the second wide receiver for the Vols, had himself a whale of a day against the Bulldogs. Ultimately, the Vols fell short. But what have y'all seen from Brazzell so far this year?
Vertical speed, size, length, ability to, handle 50-50 balls, contested catches, and his yards after catches, really been, good this year. He wasn't as productive last year as he has been so far this year. But again, he's what you're looking for as far as all the measurables go. He's got the height, he's got the speed, he's got the length, and he uses it well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he had 3 touchdowns against Georgia, if I'm right. I think I'm right. And he was actually up for one of the players of the week that we had this last week. And, he lost out to, a player that ended up, beating Clemson. So, he had quite a week.
You are correct. 3 touchdowns, 177 yards as well in that game. If I could deviate actually one more time, the player of the week, can you take us kind of through that process? Because as much film as y'all cover over at the Senior Bowl, there have to be some pretty interesting discussions there, both on the offensive side and then the defensive side of the ball. How do y'all really come to those decisions?
Well, and again, I try to handle it as much as I can. And I told you earlier, I watched the multi-view. It's the greatest thing, that I've ever, had in my house.
It's so good.
I can watch 16 games like in a Saturday. I take notes on every splash play that I see, every splash player that I see that flashes. I take notes on it, and then we actually have 10 scouts that are out on the road and that actually watch tape also, 2 in-house here, scouting assistants, and then my director of football operations, Jack Gilmore. We're all watching. And, again, we kind of come together on Sunday and talk about, who we thought, showed out, who actually had a good day. And then the greatest thing in the world now is PFF, because I can come in on Monday morning, I can check the tape that I watched, the flashes that I saw, I can check those players in a second. I can just pull them up by name, pull them up by the game, however I want, just to kind of just reiterate what I saw and what everybody else saw. Because again, we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to have the wrong player. We don't want to have the the wrong statistics. You want to see it on tape, because again, just because he flashes on TV doesn't necessarily mean he had a good day. It just means he had a big play at one point in that game. So it's a collaborative effort with the 10 scouts, the 2 scouting assistants, my football ops guy, and me. That's how we come up with an offensive player, a defensive player, and a stock-up player of the week. That's how we go about it.
Talking with Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, with our scouting report here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. One more for Tennessee, and on the defensive side, Josh Josephs. I know he stood out to y'all plenty.
Yeah, big-time pass rusher. He's got a great get-off. Uses his hands really well, turns speed to power. Uses speed to power in his rushes. Got a good toolbox. plays the run well, is heavy-handed, and he doesn't, he sets the point, sets the edge. And, again, I really like the player, and, he's played well so far, and I'm sure he's going to continue to play well.
Back onto LSU's schedule for a moment, if we could. South Carolina, they'll come in Death Valley in about 4 weeks' time if you count the bye week. And there's a player, multifaceted. That's Vakari Swain on the defensive side of the ball and in the return game. I'll let you pick the order you want to go in, Drew, with him, but kind of a thought on both parts of his game.
Well, what sticks out is he's already got 3 punt returns for touchdowns.
Yeah.
And when the ball's in his hand now, he has great vision. I mean, we use the term sometimes, he sees all the cars on the road, and he can avoid them. Got great vision out in the open field, got really, really good speed. He's got good length, uses it well as a returner and as a corner. He's an impactful kid. He's eligible, for the draft this year. Don't know if he'll come out or not, but he's performing really, really well with both facets, both special teams and on defense.
For the Auburn Tigers, and, it's actually really disappointing to a lot of people around here that Auburn isn't on LSU's schedule every single year. But Kieron Crawford on the defensive line there for the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, 3 sacks already, and played good competition in those games. He's increased his value as far as the NFL draft goes. He's not a huge human. He's not 6'4". He's not 270 pounds. He's more of an outside linebacker, looking body, being about 6'2" and about 245 right in there. He's already shown he's been good against the run, but he's already got 3 sacks piled up already this year. And I'd expect him to probably get into double digits and maybe get his way into maybe day 2 of the draft this year. He's been impactful for the Tigers.
Where would you stack him up in terms of pass rushers in the Southeastern Conference?
There's a lot of them. But right now, he's probably in the top 6, top 7 right in there.
And then from the defensive line at Auburn to the offensive line at Auburn, Xavier Chaplin over there, the left tackle, big junior, 6'7", 348. I mean, goodness gracious. Good luck getting around him.
Yeah, and not just the length. He actually has very good feet for a man his size, which is a plus in everybody's eyes in the NFL. If you're that long and you've got, good quick feet to move laterally, can load your weight, reload your weight and load your weight, back and forth because of counters and things like that against rushers, it's a plus again for him. If he decides to come out, he'll be a high pick at left tackle.
Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, with us here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day every week. One more to get you out of here, Drew, and I'll leave it very open-ended. Just going back, looking at the tape between LSU and Florida. Any players? I think there's 14 Tigers in the Senior Bowl top 300. Which of them stood out for you?
It's not just last week. I think Baron Brown has really been an impactful player for LSU so far. Mansour Delane been really, really good. And I think Jack Pyburn has quietly been a force that people aren't really talking about.
We'll have plenty more with the LSU Tigers. They'll get through Southeastern, and then we'll have a big one discussed with the Ole Miss Rebels, or I should say with LSU heading up to Oxford to face the Ole Miss Rebels next week. Drew, we appreciate the time as always, man. You can get him on Twitter X at DFabe SB. Of course, Senior Bowl at Senior Bowl on Twitter X as well. Drew, we appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. That is Drew Fabianich, executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. We're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Continue to count you down. LSU versus Southeastern. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Orderlocks, presented by Supreme Rice. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed for generations right here in Louisiana. And we're at the Yacht House every Monday. It's red beans and Supreme Rice. Parboiled rice, the Yacht Father's personal favorite. Now let's get locked in with Jimmy Yacht.
All right, a couple updates before we bring Jimmy in. Big overturn of a scoop and score for Auburn that would have resulted in a 7-point Auburn lead. They called it an incomplete pass. Oklahoma retains possession, and they have first down and 10 at Auburn's 30-yard line. Scoreless game 5 minutes in. Ole Miss with a 7-0 lead against Tulane. They are driving in Green Wave territory down to the 25-yard line about halfway through the first quarter. And the lightning delay is over at Clemson. Syracuse has added a field goal to their lead. 3 minutes into the third quarter, 27-14, Orange over Clemson. Jimmy, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Real busy over here at the Queen, man. A lot of crazy endings to the 11 a.m. games that all turned on a fumble. You know, key fumbles: Arkansas, Memphis, Miami, Ohio, UNLV, and the one that didn't flip the result was Army and North Texas, and that was because Army starting quarterback went down after the second play from scrimmage in overtime. The backup could not get him in the end zone to extend the game.
And North Texas wins that one in overtime. Let me start with Arkansas. Jimmy, they had an 18-point lead at one stage of this game, and Memphis came all the way back to beat them 32-31.
Oh, well, the story was that Memphis got some stops, some kind of way. And because this was a track meet, it was up and down, a lot of easy yards. Taylor Green played good again. And, it's a tough spot for them. 41-36, an emotional, draining game. In Oxford last week, they had the ball down 5 late. They had a chance to win it. And then they got Notre Dame coming to campus for the first time ever. They've never even played Notre Dame before. So Taylor Green looks good, but that defense is really, really weak.
Nearly 1,000 yards of total offense for the two teams. They came in at 989 and almost dead even within 11 yards of each other. Jimmy, Texas Tech and Utah, this was supposed to be a pretty even game, but Texas Tech went in to Salt Lake City, not the easiest place in the world to play, and they were in control of this thing throughout, and they really ran it up in the fourth quarter.
3 turnovers in the first half, another touchdown call back. For a penalty for Utah, all in the first half, put them behind, and they were catch-up mode the whole time. And Sam Pierre's not a guy that's just where you got to throw the ball, a straight drop back kind of guy. He needs to create some easier throwing opportunities with the threat of him running the ball. And even with all that, they score to cut it to 3. Late third, early fourth, and defensive-oriented game the whole time, and the backup quarterback for Texas Tech took him down the field. Now, he has played in all 3 games coming into this one, so he's played in all 4 games, but, he looked really good, maybe even an upgrade. Maybe kind of look at what we're seeing in Ole Miss, because the backup quarterback took him right down the field and then punched in a couple of more touchdowns to put it away. So he looked really good, and yes, that's a highly difficult place to play in Salt Lake City. But very uncharacteristic for a Winningham team to to just have so many penalties and mistakes that put it behind for most of the game.
The last game from the early window, this one is still got a long way to go because of the weather delay, but Syracuse is up on Clemson 27-14. Running out of excuses for Clemson, Jimmy. Syracuse has got over 350 yards of offense early in the third quarter. They have scored 27 points. They have held, Clemson somewhat in check. Clemson's moved the ball a little bit, but Clemson's running out of reasons why they're losing these. Okay, the LSU game, well, there's two good teams. Okay, you had to go to Georgia Tech. That's a tough trip. Hangover for the first half of the Troy game. They're running out of reasons why they're not playing well.
The running game is still doing very little today, and also the defense. Syracuse got the opening kickoff and went down the field in 8 plays, scored a touchdown. They look on film, they catch something, they onside kick. They get the ball again, they go score again. So before Clemson takes their first snap, they're down double digits. And that's where they still are right now, down 27-14 early in the third. It's most on, Syracuse moved the ball in that Tennessee game as well, but Angeli he's the best quarterback on the field today. He's having a much better day than Klubnik. Klubnik is kind of inconsistent. Clemson's not out of this game by any stretch, but it's been mostly on that much ballyhooed defense that's not even close to what the people hyped him up to before the season.
Angeli's having a better day. He's having a better year than Klubnik. In fact, we talked about this on the Daily Show Friday. Yeah. Angeli's having a really good first 3 games. He's leading the ACC in passing, and it's a really good crop.
It's coming out. And just the visuals too, Charlie. I mean, he's throwing the ball in stride. He's throwing it with confidence. He really looks good. So we got that little glimpse in the semifinal game against Penn State down in Miami when he had to come in and led them to that field goal. And we said, okay, maybe. But, man, he's having a good year. He really is, yeah.
All right, let's talk about some of these games in the 2:30 window. Ole Miss is without Austin Simmons today. Yeah. Thank you, Musso. But you and I are both of the opinion that not only is this not a drop-off, but Trinidad Chambliss may be the better quarterback. He certainly doesn't have the turnover component that Simmons has had through the first 3 games of the season. They've got an early lead on Tulane.
Yeah, I was a little perplexed by our boy on game day, who was kind of like become the information guy, Thamel.
Yeah.
And he gave the news that Simmons was not available to start today. There'll be an emergency situation like last week. And he said that, Simmons is the better passer and Chambliss is the better runner. That's wrong. Chambliss is a higher completion percentage. He throws more yards per attempt, and he's got a way better touchdown to interception ratio. So just a miss on that one. I think Chambliss is a better quarterback. And two possessions, 2 scores, a touchdown and a field goal. Now, he did have a nice run to set up the first touchdown as well, and he finished it off with a touchdown pass on 3rd down for about 5 yards. And Ole Miss, Ole Miss looks good. That look-ahead line for LSU next week is 1.5 LSU. So if Ole Miss does hold on, we got a lot of football to play. There's going to be a lot of points scored in Oxford today, but 10-0 early on Ole Miss, and Chambliss looks good again. But this Arkansas defense and Tulane defense, I have to be fair, there's a lot tougher defenses, and certainly LSU is going to bring much tougher defense to the table next week in Oxford.
Another SEC team with questions at the quarterback position, South Carolina, and Lenora Sellers and his availability at the game at Mizzou tonight. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Mizzou is a top 5 in the nation running team, and Bo Pribula, who we remember from his time at Penn State, is off to a really good start here. Jimmy, South Carolina, with and without Lenora Sellers, has been underwhelming, and they got a tough road game here tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and I was shocked. Another thing on game day today, and really give them credit, they did a research. They polled 25 GMs or front office people, and they said, who's going to be the number 1 pick? Nobody picked Arch Manning. Even if he would come out, he was eligible for this little poll.
They pulled out here.
Howard, number 1, got the most votes, just ahead of Nussmeier. And I don't see that as far as a thrower. He really, that's not a good team in Virginia Tech. I know he got knocked out last week, but he was off to a really good start throwing the ball. So maybe he'll come out and play better today against Missouri, but I was surprised about that. We know he can run, and, you know, maybe as good of a start as he's ever had as a thrower to start last week. 15 yards in attempts against Vanderbilt and a touchdown before he was knocked out in that game. So I'm a little surprised he's going to go. Missouri's a big favorite. That might be a few too many points tonight. I'm not high on South Carolina. I went their team total over in one of our podcasts that we did, but they may be close to be able to be more competitive than the 10-point spread later tonight.
Florida and Miami. It's been a rough 3 weeks really rough 2 weeks for Billy Napier, both on and off the field. They go in tonight against Miami, better than a touchdown underdog. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, Jimmy. The Gators have a bye after this week. If they were to go down there and lose badly, could Florida make a move tomorrow? I wouldn't rule that out. On the other hand, he could, that defense is really good. Maybe they have one big effort in them tonight down at Hard Rock Stadium.
I think they will. I know that the people that did bet Florida last week, and Florida's down 23-10, and you need a pick six, give up a pick six. That's what it took for you not to cover the spread. I'm not sure they're ready to back Florida again. But the line, they're baiting you to take Miami in this game, and so I'm going to be on Florida tonight. So I will be on them plus the 7.5. I wouldn't think that they would fire Napier in this spot, especially because he turned them around last year. But the spitting, the coach's suspension, 20 total penalties, which had a big impact on those two losses the last couple of weeks against South Florida and LSU. Yeah, this thing is he's lost control. And so maybe I wouldn't rule it out, but I still wouldn't think so. But I do look for a big effort for the Gators tonight. And LSU, we think LSU's pretty damn good. LSU wasn't that much better than Florida on the field in Tiger Stadium last week.
Last game, Illinois and Indiana pair 3-0 teams in Bloomington tonight. It's a 6:30 start on NBC. Two good quarterbacks here, and two 3-0 teams.
Yeah, this is a fun game, man. The state, the teams, the schools, they start with an I. They're in the second tier of the Big Ten. Both had unusually better than expected seasons last year. Of course, Indiana going to the playoff, and Illinois winning 10 games. And, finishing it off with an win over an SEC team in a bowl game, South Carolina. And they have everybody back. Sharp money is all over Indiana, driving this thing from 4.5 to 6.5, maybe even some 7 right now. And I just think that's too much. I think it's a flip of the coin. I think it's a really fun football game. And how about Illinois? 0 turnovers so far this year. Altmaier really does protect the ball. That's the big jump he made in his second year starting. Continuity, the coordinators, the head coach, the quarterback, and so many guys have been there for 3 years now. I like Illinois to keep this close and maybe even win it. It's, 50-50 game. Give me 6.5. I'm on the Illini.
Otterlocks is brought to you by Supreme Rice.
Oh, we're going to do some the big lima beans with the ham hock in there for this Monday at the house. Turn on the crock pot, the slow cooker tomorrow night, and do it up good. So, and the great thing about Supreme Rice is long grain pour-boil rice. It's restaurant quality rice. A long grain rice is firm. It doesn't have a whole lot of residue when you boil it and strain it. Grain also absorbs flavors well, making a perfect choice for your red beans, or any type of beans on Monday with Supreme Rice. And also, it's good for you. It's packed with nutrients, similar to our brown rice. So Supreme Rice, pour-boil rice, it's available wherever you find Supreme Rice in all your local grocery stores.
Jimmy will join you for the Football Sunday tomorrow from the Queen at 10 a.m. Looking forward to reviewing a big day in college football and looking ahead to the NFL. Thanks a lot.
See you then, Charlie.
All right, Auburn with a threat now. They are down inside the 10-yard line of Oklahoma. We are approaching the 5-minute mark here. In fact, they're inside the 5 now. In the first quarter, we're approaching the 5-minute mark. Oklahoma leads us 3-0, but Auburn threatening here again in the first quarter in Norman. We'll take a break. We'll come back and hear from the guys on OTB. That's next here at Rouse's. Our countdown to kickoff presented by LaBerge Casino is 3 hours and 33 minutes. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Presented by Shell. Shell is the rhythm of Louisiana. Off the Bench is heard weekday mornings at 7 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, here's Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
We talked so much about the knee injury that really wasn't a big deal in training camp for Garrett Nussmeier. You know,
you talking about when his leg fell off?
When the leg fell off, and everybody was panicking, and you had like a minor.
Did great.
They did great. You had a minor sprain there.
We got rid of this.
And we've seen, a knee sleeve here and there, still like sometimes at practice or whatever, from some of the photos that we've seen them put out. So we've known like that's been a part of the first couple of games for Garrett Nussmeier. But it turns out, Brian Kelly said that he's been nursing a torso injury. And, Tay, do we have that sound? All right, let's go ahead and play. Here is Brian Kelly talking about Nussmeier and this injury that we didn't really know he had.
I'll be honest, and I wasn't going to get into this, but with you guys, I will. He's been slowed a little bit with a torso injury, and he's fighting through it, and he's getting better, and he's not going to be able to really shut it down until we get to the bye week. And I'm not saying that has had any of his troubles. I think he is a symptom of what I just answered from Wilson in that, we're not ripping it on fourth down. We're taking some plays away from him as well. And he's done a really good job. I think he managed the run game as well as he has all year. We got to let him get the ball out to the playmakers. That would be more of what has to happen. And then we've got to keep him healthy.
All right. I'll throw it to our quarterback because, I've never thrown a football with a torso injury. And I've never throwing a football in a game, and that feels like a body part that it is not ideal to be able to let it rip if you have any kind of torso, abdomen, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
depending on where it's at.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what I
guess it does depend on where it is, but like a torso injury is a torso injury. It's got to be some sort of ab muscle pull, or some sort of muscle pull. I don't know what other injury it could be.
Yeah.
Which is highly effective.
Like sports hernia, maybe we consider torso.
That would be a little bit more serious, though. Don't
Yeah.
you think? That's. I mean, I'm assuming there's probably grades, but I'm assuming there's some sort of. I know there's surgery when it's like a sports hernia situation, but it's got to be some sort of muscle pull or aggravation or something. But I can tell you the way. If you have a powerful arm, like all throwers, all swingers, all kickers, your power comes from your rotation, right? It doesn't come from big, strong arm. It comes from how your timing of the rotation of your hips and your lower body, and then can you time up your arm and sync it up with that? But the harder you throw it, the more torque is produced with your hips and the rotation.
Yeah.
So you spin harder. And when I mean spin, you spin your hips harder, the harder you hit it. That's why like a golfer that is, 5'6", $125 can hit it farther than the strongest guy in the world because they create speed. So the faster you spin, the faster you can move your arm, the faster, the better leverage, and the faster the ball speed.
Yeah.
So of course that's going to make a big difference. And Garrett is so talented with his arm. We've seen it for 2 years now in real action. Started last year, then the year before that, and some backup duties, and we saw it in the bowl game versus Wisconsin. Like, we know he can make all the throws. So when I look back on games, when I look back at Louisiana Tech early on, and he throws a deep ball that's 10 yards behind the receiver.
Yeah.
You start putting the pieces together. Now that Brian Kelly says this, you start looking at the evidence on the field, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense that he hasn't been able to make all the throws, especially when when everything's not perfect. So when everything's not perfect, like if your feet are right under you, like you're warming up, the pocket's clean, everything is perfect, it's easy to, keep your shoulder closed. It's easy to kind of protect that, what's painful. But when your feet get out of whack, when you're having to move in the pocket, move around, and your feet, like, you still have to create torque in different ways. You still have to create torque, but like, let's just say, if you know how you normally throw, like you stand up and your feet are parallel, your shoulders point at your target, your foot, you step perfectly. But let's just say your feet are spread out.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're both of your feet are pointing at the target. So then you got to really close your left shoulder down. Now you got to create a lot of torque. And so when that happens, I can see how a torso injury would be very effective. And I think we saw that in that deep ball. And we've seen that. He hadn't, he's looking good at times, but he's making some throws. They're a little bit uncharacteristic to what we've seen. And like if he was a brand new starter, you wouldn't be able to have those tells, but we've seen him make every single throw consistently on the football field. So, he's not wincing though. He's not like, it can't be so bad that ibuprofen's not helping it. But I think it's when
you think ibuprofen's the strongest thing.
Real high powered. But I don't know. I mean, it's just my curiosity is.
Well, there has been something that has been a little off. And we've talked about it.
I just thought it was kind of footwork mechanical. Like he's just off mechanically a little bit. He's been off his platform from his lower body. So it would make sense, though, from what I've noticed, that it would be kind of protecting a little bit of an injury.
So later on in the show, I'll pull up, I have the passing chart and kind of where he's thrown every football, how far it's traveled, and you can kind of see what we're talking about. And look, you've noticed. I mean, look, y'all are football fans. Y'all have watched a lot of football. Like, you realize that the ball hasn't been pushed down the field a ton. I like the Louisiana Tech throw is like really the one that I can think of in 3 games where it's like, hey, let her rip, go out there and see how far you can throw it.
Yep.
I don't remember seeing another one. It's not to say you hadn't thrown like, a deep dig route. You've certainly done that. I believe you hit a corner route early not the last game, earlier in the season. But when you look at the passing chart and you look at the passing map, there hasn't been a ton of pushing the ball down the field. And certainly like your deeper throws have actually been over the middle and haven't been towards the sideline between, the numbers and the sideline, which is going to be a farther throw.
And deeper throws over the middle are, you got to think about it. It's kind of what I'm talking, everything is like perfect. Like your feet are perfectly in line, your shoulders perfectly in line. Now when you start throwing to the sideline, so I would think if you go back with a torso injury for a right-handed quarterback, throwing to the left is going to stress your a torso injury out.
Yeah.
Because kind of what I'm talking about. If your feet are at a weird angle, as a right-handed quarterback, you really have to torque your left shoulder when you're rolling to your left to close down. Now, if you're rolling to your right, everything's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So I would think that would create a little bit less stress, less pain in his throw motion. But running to his left, I would imagine he's got a little less zip, a little less juice, a little less accuracy to that.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
Get away from the cops.
The first time I saw this beautiful
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by Alpha Customs. Alpha Customs. Be an Alpha. AlphaCustoms.net. After further review is heard weekday afternoons at 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
Our LaBerge countdown to kickoff at about 3 hours and 18 minutes. Let ESPN Bet at LaBerge be your game day headquarters. Scone, good afternoon.
What up, Hanny? What up, Muse?
Oh, well, we're over here doing what we're supposed to be doing. I want your thoughts on Brian Kelly and the things that he said about Garrett Nussmeier and the torso injury, the oblique injury that has limited him through the first month of the season. On one hand, he said, well, this is not going to be fully rested and healed until after the bye week. And then he went on to say, well, Nussmeier needs to play. He needs to stay in a rhythm. He needs to gain some momentum with this offense going into the Ole Miss game. Where do you stand on those somewhat conflicting statements? Because if he wanted to hold Nussmeier, if he thinks one more week would do it, then theoretically he could hold him here, but he's chosen not to do that.
I don't think anybody that's ever played football at any level ever is ever 100%. I also don't think that what Garrett Nussmeier has been dealing with since fall camp is limiting him. I know that's not a common and popular opinion. It is a fan-held belief to say, oh, the offense stinks. Nussmeier's oblique. I just don't believe that's the case. We've seen Nussmeier make great throws. They held him out of a Friday. I checked my fall camp notes. On August the 15th, it was a Friday at the indoor, Nussmeier did not throw a pass. Afterwards, I asked Brian Kelly why Nussmeier didn't throw a pass. He said pitch count, load management, all that stuff. The next day they scrimmaged in Tiger Stadium, and Nussmeier scrimmaged fully, full go. I just don't believe this is what's limiting him. I think that what we've seen with the offense through 2 weeks is not Garrett Nussmeier's oblique. And Brian Kelly has said this over and over and over again, if you're actually listening, they have 5 new starters on the offensive line that are trying to learn how to have 5 play as one. Weston Davis has not been very good at right tackle. I think Paul Mabeng has been improved at left guard. Neither on the right side of the line were good last week, including Josh Thompson. I think with the defensive fronts from Clemson and Florida, they were intentional about getting the ball out of Nussmeier's hands quickly. I don't think the lack of a deep passing game was his oblique. I think it was they were trying to get rid of the ball quickly to make sure you didn't get wrecked by the one thing that wrecked you last year against Florida, which was that pass rush. Kelly also said Nussmeier's through the worst of it. He's on the other side of it, I think is how he said it. I genuinely do not believe this is not any towing any line. I think this is as significant as the knee tendonitis, which is literally a thing, right? I mean, it's a thing, but it's not really a thing. It's not like people flipped out and he's wearing a sleeve on his knee, but it's not really a thing that anybody's talking about. And I think after tonight, no one's going to talk about this oblique anymore.
If he goes out and he throws the ball down the field, they may not. But if he doesn't, then the questions are going to linger. I think more than one thing can be true. I'm in complete lockstep with you on the offensive line stuff. And I'm complete lockstep with you that this is certainly not all on Nussmeier. But, Matt, you got to concede that they are reluctant, if not completely ruling out him throwing the ball anything more than about 30 air yards. I mean, there have been some long plays, the long play to Bauer Sharp. Ball was in the air 26 yards. He can still do that. But there were also plays where there was the opportunity to go deep. And other than the Louisiana Tech ball that he badly underthrew, they're just not throwing that ball. And I got to believe that that's got something to do with the oblique.
I don't think so. You can disagree with me. I watched him throughout all fall camp. I probably watched 20 hours of practice for this team. I watched Nussmeier air it out after that Friday practice when he didn't throw. I don't think that I do not think that it's limiting him.
Wasn't that wasn't a lot of those hours that you watched though before the injury? I mean, at the beginning of camp, he was fine.
August, we don't know when it happened, Hanny, but the first time he didn't throw was August the 15th. That was 2 weeks before the Clemson game, and we got to watch 2 weeks of practice after that. So I know. I don't think that's the case. Like, I know, again, this is not a popular opinion, but if he doesn't throw a pass on August the 15th, which means he's already had this injury, and the next day goes and scrimmages fully, why then wouldn't you on August the 16th hold him out of that scrimmage entirely? Like, it's just, I think, like, part of me wishes Brian Kelly hadn't made this acknowledgement because it's created this whole new set of ideas around this thing. And I truly believe the reason they have utilized the short and intermediate passing game against Clemson and against Louisiana or against Florida was because he was deadly afraid of what happened last year in Gainesville, which was 7 sacks, 11 TFLs, a day where LSU dominated the stat sheet and lost because the offensive line couldn't keep Nussmeier upright. He wasn't going to let that happen again. So, no, I don't believe this is limiting him in any way more than that knee tendonitis is limiting him. It's a thing, but it's not a thing.
Okay. And I agree with the short passing game against Clemson in Florida as well, getting the ball out of his hands quick. I'm with you there. But we're going to have to agree to disagree that he could throw the ball down the field the last 2 weeks, because I saw it against Louisiana Tech. He threw a ball that he should complete 90% of the time, and he underthrew the thing by 15 yards, and they hadn't thrown one since. So I'm going to.
It wasn't 15 yards, Andy.
It was well underthrown, Matt. Come on.
Come on. You can't say he underthrew the ball by 15 yards.
Well, where did it?
Berrien Brown was open down the left sideline against Tech. It was the 4th play of the game.
Yeah.
It was probably in the 5-yard range, which allowed the defensive back to close on it. It got batted up and got intercepted.
Well, but
terrible throw.
It was because Berrien Brown slowed up because the ball was underthrown. If he keeps running, that ball should have been. It was underthrown. How much? Okay, we can agree to disagree about that. Now let's get to what Brian Kelly said, because I think this is interesting. He didn't have to say anything on Monday, and why would he tip off any opponent, much less, about your quarterback, if he wasn't very confident that Nussmeier is past this thing? Because otherwise, why say anything in the press conference? He was asked, you were there, Jacques asked him about mechanics. He could have very easily sidestepped this thing and chose not to. So he must think that Nussmeier is past this.
I also think that he was playing nice after the embarrassment of the postgame press conference Saturday. I don't think he'll acknowledge that. It's just my opinion as someone who has sat in every press conference that Brian Kelly's done since he showed up. He's been awesome to deal with to the media. It's been a very respectful relationship. It was Saturday night was embarrassing. To his credit, he's apologized, moved past it. I think that's what that was. I think that was playing nice after Saturday night. And I agree with you that, see, Hanny, we can agree. I agree that because I do not believe this is limiting, and he does not believe this is any longer limiting Garrett Nussmeier, that he's okay to mention it now. I mean, listen, the last Saturday scrimmage in Tiger Stadium before, so it was the 23rd, right? The Saturday before Clemson. Nussmeier didn't throw a football. It was the second time we saw him go through a practice and not throw. And leaving there is when I got the first call from someone suggesting to me that he had an oblique injury. And I asked and asked and asked and asked and was continuously put off to say, it's nothing, it's not a big deal, it's nothing, it's not limiting him. And then he went and played against Clemson, and nobody said anything about Nussmeier's inability to push the ball. And only has this become a conversation when Brian Kelly mentioned it on Monday. So I do think he's through it. Whatever it was, I think he's through it.
Yeah, he did throw that deep ball to Berrien Brown in the Clemson game, the one that, the controversial play. So I'll give it to you, and I don't know if he aggravated or, whatever that night or before the Louisiana Tech game. So we'll see. Let me ask you this. Would you play him tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I would. I think because, again, to go back, I truly do not believe this is limiting him. I don't. And I wouldn't lie to you. I don't believe this is a limiting factor. I think this has been a fun conversation this week for people because Brian Kelly mentioned it finally. But I think this offense needs to get going. They need confidence. They need to go have success. They need timing. They need all of that stuff with Garrett. And this is an opportunity with the glorified scrimmage before you go to Oxford next week and play a terrible defense at Ole Miss. So, yes, I would not play Braylon Moore. High ankle sprain? No. Braylon Moore against Louisiana. I wouldn't have played Braylon Moore last week. I would have Braylon Moore sitting.
Okay. And look, God bless him for doing that this week, so we didn't have to spend the week talking about Southeastern's defense. I mean, it was very nice of him to, hand feed us this topic for the week to talk about. All right, what say you when I give you the score of the Syracuse-Clemson game, which is at the last play of the third quarter, and Syracuse is leading by 20, 34-14?
I say I'm really bummed because I live bet Clemson on the money line when it was when they scored right before half.
Okay, besides that.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
I did. They scored right before half. I'm like, this is the Troy game all over again. They started slowly going to go win it. And I don't know, they may. But I think that's, what that team reminds me a lot of, Handy. This will resonate to you. Muse, I don't know if you remember 98, but it feels a lot like 1998 LSU. You had all these seniors, man. You had Herb Tyler and Kevin Falk and Booger McFarland and this really veteran team that was preseason top 10 and a lot of expectation. And obviously they hired a bad defense coordinator, and they lost a close game to Georgia early, and the defense never got right. And what did they end up, 3-8 or 4-7, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's a really talented team, a really veteran team, and they are just spiraling. And when you get caught in that spiral, it's hard to pull yourself out of it, man. I think that's what's happening to them right now.
You know, that game against Georgia where Quincy Carter came out and I think went 16 for his first 16 or whatever. LSU had a play. They had the option call. They had the defensive end was way down in the gap. Herb Tyler is going to walk in the end zone. He could have walked in backwards, and LSU was going to take the lead, and they would have probably won the game if he does that. And they got flagged for an illegal formation, and the whole a false start because they stopped the play. And it was just like, oh, man, there was their shot, and they ended up losing the game by 1. And you're right, it spiraled out of control from there. And you probably remember this too, Matt. Moose and I were talking during a break. Dabo Swinney is starting to sound to me a little bit like what Steve Spurrier sounded like at the end of his tenure at Florida. This is no longer fun when we win. It's just a relief. The expectations are completely unrealistic. I can go coach somewhere else. I mean, this is more than just, what was the kid's name? Tyler from Spartanburg?
Tyler from Spartanburg, yeah.
The Moose remembered the name. I didn't. The caller last year. He is starting to say, I just always assumed that Dabo would end his career at Clemson because he's had so much success there. But he's starting to sound a little bit like late tenure Spurrier at Florida, to me.
Well, there's two things. One, look at Georgia Tech last week. They throw an interception at the goal line. They miss a short field goal, and they fumbled. Klubnik fumbled deep in his own territory. That's a 13-point swing. They should have beat Georgia Tech by double digits. If they play clean, they win that game by double digits. But instead, they lose on a walk-off. And sometimes when things are going badly for you, it's like that, right? It spirals. The other thing, too, is this is Dabo's doing. He's been the one who's been unwilling to change in the times. I mean, this isn't a new narrative, but he's the guy that won't go utilize the portal. He's the guy that won't go utilize NIL. Well, when you're not playing by this, when you're intentionally handcuffing yourself, what do you expect to happen? So if that's the path he's going to continue to take and he's not going to adapt to the times, then I would anticipate that they're going to continue to regress. I mean, you can look at Clemson you say, well, they were a playoff team a year ago, and that's true, but they also lost. They got chokeholded by Georgia. They lost at home to Louisville. They lost at home to South Carolina. The only reason they got into the ACC championship game is because Miami threw up on themselves at Syracuse, and then they get to go to the ACC championship game and they play SMU, and then they get housed by Texas in the playoff. I mean, were they actually a good team a year ago, or were they the beneficiary of circumstance? I think this might be the answer to that. But I agree with you on the Spurrier thing at the end is like those Spurrier team, like 2001 Florida was still really good. I mean, they beat the mess out of LSU and Baton Rouge. I mean, that was still a really good football team. But, there's probably some correlation there where, you're at a place for a long time and you sort of, you're a victim of your own success. And I think it's probably what's happened with Dabo, and he's unwilling to change.
Two veteran coaches that have been unwilling to embrace the new environment, that have had unprecedented success at their schools. Dabo at Clemson and Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. And you can see it. And, of course, Oklahoma State doesn't have Clemson's resources. So it's unraveling on Gundy faster, but that's what it appears to me. Clemson is a 3-touchdown comeback away from being 1-3, unless they put unless they pull off some miracle. And Steve Angeli is having himself a day for Syracuse. All right, Scone, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week when LSU heads to Oxford.
Nuss can still throw a ball farther than me, Annie.
And me too. Thanks a lot, Matt. We are here at Rouse's. Let them cover your game day spread. As always, lots going on here at Rouse's, so come by and get all of your tailgating supplies. You know, the Louisiana's own Moto X biker Wyatt Fontenot going to be at the Rouse's in Denham Springs on Monday from 3 to 4 for a meet and greet that's presented by No Cap Soda Pop. Try No Cap Soda Pop now at Rouse's Markets. 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 caffeine, and 5 bold flavors. Come meet Wyatt Fontenot Monday, September the 22nd. That's Monday from 3 to 4 at the Rouse's in Denham Springs. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish contractors, let's get building.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The dependable storage college football scoreboard. Dependable Storage. Let us store your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
Start with games in progress. In the early parts of the second quarter, Oklahoma leads Auburn 10-3. Auburn had the punter tackle deep in his own territory. Then they busted a coverage. Oklahoma takes advantage of it. They lead it by a touchdown. Number 6, Oregon leads Oregon State 21-7. They've just started the third quarter in Eugene. Dante Moore's thrown a couple of touchdown passes there. Number 7, Florida State, no problem with Kent State 35-7. That game's only halfway through the second quarter. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, Clemson has just scored. Syracuse leads 34-20. Steve Angeli has thrown a couple of touchdown passes for Syracuse. There was a long weather delay in this one. Oh, hang on. They may be looking at this again, so hold the phone on the touchdown. But Syracuse was leading 34-14. Looked like Clemson had a touchdown they're going to look at this, so just hang tight with that. They had a very lengthy weather delay at halftime, so that game that started at 11 is only now at the beginning part of the fourth quarter. Number 13, Ole Miss leads Tulane 20-3. About 2.5 minutes to go to the break there. Trinidad Chambliss got the start for Ole Miss. He's gone the whole way. He's thrown a touchdown pass and run for 75 yards. Number 21, Michigan leads Nebraska 10-3 late in the second quarter. Bryce Underwood has run for the only touchdown in that game. Number 24, Notre Dame leads Purdue 27-10. About 6.5 minutes to go in the first half there. UCF beating North Carolina 13-0. 4 minutes to go in the first half. In that one, UConn leads Ball State 10-7 late in the second quarter. Also, late second quarter scores. Liberty leads James Madison 10-3. UL Lafayette leads Eastern Michigan 17-14. Buffalo leads Troy 7-0. No score. Toledo and Western Michigan 30 seconds to go to the half. Ohio leads Gardner-Webb 24-21. At the end of the first quarter, Duke and North Carolina State are tied at 7, and Mississippi State leads Northern Illinois 7-3. Earlier finals today, number 15, Tennessee, no problem with UAB, 56-24. Number 17, Texas Tech beat number 16, Utah in Salt Lake City 34-10. 24 points in the fourth quarter for Texas Tech. Will Hammond, the quarterback, threw a couple of touchdown passes. Memphis beat Arkansas 32-31. The Tigers come from 18 points down in that game, overcome 325 yards through the air for Taylon Green for Arkansas, just under 1,000 yards in total offense in this game for the two teams combined. Maryland beat Wisconsin 27-10. Wisconsin off to a 2-2 start, and not great for the coach. It's been a very tough go for Luke Fickell.
The vibes are not good there in
Virginia
Madison.
Tech fired their coach last Sunday. They won today over Wofford 30. I think Brent Proctor could have probably beat Wofford. 38-6 was the final there. TCU goes to 3-0. They beat SMU 35-24. Their quarterback Josh Hoover threw 5 touchdown passes for the Horned Frogs today.
He's been impressive so far this season. He really has.
379 yards and 5 touchdowns today. Louisville beat Bowling Green 40-17. UNLV a late field goal to beat Miami of Ohio 41-38. North Texas beat Army 45-38. That was in overtime. South Florida bombed South Carolina State 63-14, and Central Michigan beat Wagner 49-10, and that is your college football scoreboard. We'll take a break, come back, and hear from the head coach of the Southeastern Lions, Frank Selfo. That's next from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana.
98.1. Trusted to finish what others start, Wesley Construction. Learn more at wesleyyusa.com or follow us on LinkedIn.
Eagle 98.1, WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day, presented by Super Chevy and Yingling. Opposing media.
Southeastern head coach Frank Selfo bringing his Lions into Tiger Stadium this weekend. Looking forward to the matchup Saturday night. Coach, it's a pleasure. I know it's a busy game week, but thanks for making some time for us. How are you?
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you having me on, man. Doing great.
It's interesting whenever you think about a game like this, Coach, because it's a great challenge for you, obviously, but it also comes a week before you're going to start conference play. I know you don't get to set the schedule, but are you okay with a game like this slapped right before you're going to begin your conference slate, which is so critical for your program?
I'm not okay with a game like this anytime, Matt. Come on, you got to be kidding me, right? You know better than that.
Well,
what it is, here's what it is, 5 years ago, they told us we couldn't ever play again, right? You can't play football. They took away the game from us, and nobody could play. Then they started letting people play with empty stadiums, and it just wasn't the same. So when we got a chance to bring it all back and start playing again, you can never pass up an opportunity to do what we do. And I think this is my 44th year coaching, and I cannot imagine that ever happening again to me. So am I embracing this? Yeah, hell yeah, I am. We're going to one of maybe the most iconic stadium in the country, especially on a Saturday night. We're going to play one of the best teams in the nation, the number 3 ranked team in the country, against an outstanding staff that I know most of them personally. Got players on the team that we recruited or we know.
Yeah.
And, the familiarity, I'm from this state. Obviously, I want LSU to win a national championship this year. And because it's good for the state when LSU wins. We know that. Everybody knows that. And but our opportunity to be able to do this, man, you can't. I'm not backing away from it. I'm excited about it. We look forward to it, but not for just the reasons that I just said. It's the opportunity to go do it again. And I really do. I believe this is the greatest game in the country in college football. And I know there's people that are going back and forth that once this is run, it's just getting better. And the teams are getting better and better, and we're getting rivalry matchups and cross-conference matchups that are exciting for the game that we play, that we get a chance to participate in.
Can I go back to something you said there at the beginning when you said you wouldn't be okay with a game like this anytime? Are you talking about specifically a Power 4 against an FCS type game? We understand that these games are a financial boon, but would you like to see these games sort of not happen in the future?
100%. I mean, look, think about this. You look at the Power 4 schools, those are all-star teams now. The 2 deep on those depth charts are those are great players. I mean, I turn on the film and I'm watching LSU play Clemson, and those are 2 just below NFL teams, right? They got some great players. LSU versus Florida, the same thing. I mean, there's great players on both sides of the football. And, when you look at the scores and what's taking place when you look at what Ohio State hanging 70 on Grambling, Northwestern getting beat by 70, Northwestern Louisiana getting beat by 70, Cincinnati and Minnesota, Florida State doing the same thing, these Texas A&M. The teams in our conference, playing the Power 4 schools, and we know why we do it. You'd just like to figure out another way to raise money except off of the backs of our players. But we know why we're doing it. But we also don't say, well, you know what, I'm going to back away from this thing. We're going to embrace it. It's hard, right? Men play this game. And it's hard to be a man in today's world. And to be a man, you got to do the things. And we're going to go do a hard thing on Saturday. But and we're not going to back away from it. And but we also know the purpose the reasoning behind it. But that's secondary for us. It's primary for other people.
Frank Selfo is our guest. And, Coach, I think most people know your background. I mean, from Louisiana, you've coached at Louisiana high schools. You've coached those great Tulane teams, the 98 team, of course. Coaching the pros, you've coached at Arizona, coached Nick Foles. I mean, I think most people know the depth and length and experience of your career, which is it makes your, I think it makes your comments carry even more weight. But you're right, they are going to play, the two teams are going to play a game this weekend that you have to prepare for. And it's interesting because you do have a common opponent that you both played Louisiana Tech. So is there anything in watching, is there any benefit for you or even for LSU in watching that game film of a common opponent?
100%. What you're able to do is you're able to watch how they played against us and then how they played against LSU and how they matched up physically. So sometimes when you watch, say you watch LSU versus Florida, and you say, well, as an example, the defensive end did a really good job against the left tackle. Maybe we can do that because he doesn't look like he's old, the size matchup. Well, Florida's guys are big. They're, you know what I mean? They're really good. And then when you see them against Louisiana Tech, now you have a measuring stick of us versus them also. So when you see that, you'll be able to put it in perspective, whereas when you watch them against Florida or versus Clemson, there's really not, you can't differentiate between those things when you look at it on film without seeing it in person. We were able to see Louisiana Tech live and play against them. We were able to watch the film on that and then also see LSU play Louisiana Tech. So now we can actually put it in perspective for us.
Frank Selfo is our guest. Tigers and Lions this weekend in Tiger Stadium. Look, after you had to play Tech tough, man. I mean, but for a couple of turnovers, that thing might have gone differently. But you've had one-sided wins against Murray State and Valley, and I keep looking at your defense from afar and being really impressed. What is working so well for your team on that side of the ball?
We've got a lot of experience over there, and I think our guys have really bought it. It's the third year under Billy Batavia, our defense coordinator. So we've been able to build up some stuff, and we've got a lot of guys that have come back. Like I said, a lot of guys have taken a lot of snaps for us, and I think that's where it comes from. There's a familiarity on that side of the ball. We've got a solid talent level, and we've got good depth. But I think the familiarity, being able to make adjustments and do things on the run, that's allowed us to make some plays. And we have grown defensively in the first 3 weeks, and I'm looking forward to that continuing to happen throughout the season.
You throughout your career, I know you've coached quarterbacks a bunch, but you also spent time coaching tight ends. And this is an obvious question. I'm sure you're going to be asked about a bunch if you haven't already. But you had Bauer Sharp there at Southeastern as a quarterback, and then I would assume it was you who made the decision to convert him to tight end. Can you maybe go back and walk us through that decision, like with Bauer in your program, and then the decision to move him to tight end?
Absolutely. When my son Anthony, who's our offensive coordinator, is the one found Bauer and told us about him. And he said, I'm not sure he's a quarterback or not, but he is something. And we signed him and brought him in. And sure enough, what he is more than anything else, Matt, he is one hell of a competitor. So his work ethic is off the charts. And we saw that early on. And I love Bauer to death, but I don't think Bauer could throw. Bauer would have a tough time hitting the wall if he was standing in front of us, right? He knows that, and that's why. So we spent that first year giving him an opportunity to see if he could develop into that guy. And then after that first year, he says, Coach, I play. Bauer, I think I can get you on the field. Well, let's start with special teams, and let's see how you handle that, and then go from there. And obviously did a great job. And then I said, look, well, you can play full-time if we can make a position change. He says, all I want to do is play, and all I want to do is help this team win. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And he embraced it. And how many guys do you want like that on your team? Yeah. Everybody, right? Yeah. Everybody's so selfish about everything, and that's not him. He's the ultimate team guy because all he wants to do is win, and he will do anything that he can to help people win, and he's going to prepare that way too. And so he's got a great arm now. He can throw a ball through a car wash without getting wet, but he might miss the whole car wash too the next time he throws it. So I think he's playing in a perfect spot, and he will excel. He's going to play. He's going to be a great player for him this year, and he's going to have a chance to play this game for a long time.
I think a lot of LSU fans are laughing at Coach. I don't know if you saw when he was at Oklahoma a year ago. He threw an interception on a trick play in Tiger Stadium. I don't know if you knew that, but
believe me, believe he got some text messages from me on that throw. I can tell you that. I told him, I said, we've seen that pass before. I mean, come on, man.
That's so good. I got a couple more for you. I appreciate your time, especially on a game week, man.
No, we're good, man. We're good.
Thank you. If I could, I'll ask one more about the game in a second. But the portal and NIL, it's changed everything. But Bauer's a great illustration of that, right? That's a guy who you found, your son found, got him in, position change, developed, and then boom, he's off to Oklahoma now. He's at LSU. That obviously has a negative effect on your program, or does it? How are you continuing? I mean, this is your 8th year at Southeastern now, and you've seen the transformative change of NIL and portal. So how are you continuing to build and manage a roster in this era?
We build it with high school players. The majority of our players are out of high school. We recruit them out of high school. We identify them, develop them, evaluate them, develop them, and we keep them here. Every one of our offensive linemen, we signed out of high school. We have no offensive linemen from the transfer portal. Only a couple of defensive linemen, no linebackers. So the majority of all of our tight ends are from high school that we signed out of high school. So the majority of our players are high school players, and we're going to continue to do that. Southeastern Louisiana, I said it when I got here, this state has the best high school football. I'm from here, and we love it here. They have a passion. Some of the talent might not be quite as good, but the passion makes up for it, and those are the guys that we get. And when you look at it, I know we keep him as a junior and then he's gone, right? And everybody's complaining about that. Well, FBS has been doing this for a long time. After your third year, guys are declaring for the NFL draft. There's no difference. It's the same thing. You develop him and you get him to where, man, this guy's going to have a great senior year, and now he's gone. Well, hopefully you have prepared a little bit to make sure that you have something backing that guy up for the future. And that's what we're trying to do here. That's what we've been doing here. Our culture is good, Matt. We've got 24 seniors this year. And that speaks volumes to me about our culture that we have in our program, that guys want to come here. But when they get here, they realize how special it is, and they stay here. We had an opportunity for some guys to leave and go take some money this year. They didn't. They opted to stay here. And now, because of that, we've got some people here in town that are willing to pony up and put some money in the NIL. And we're going to try to get in the game so that we can start taking care of our own, that we don't lose so many guys to the portal for minimum amounts. And I think that's where the game has changed. Everybody knows that. Teams are getting, I think the Power 4 teams, they're doing such a job of managing everything, but it is a job. And we're having to figure things out along the way at our level. And that's what we're doing. But it's about, the appreciation of and what he's actually trying to do. Does he really want to play the game? Does he have a passion for the game? Does he love it? Or is he just looking for a buck? And some of those guys show their hand pretty quick, and you just kind of move away from those guys.
Coach, before you go, Saturday in Tiger Stadium, look for, as you mentioned, so many of your guys who prepped in the state are going to be fired up just for the opportunity to play in Tiger Stadium. But aside from winning the game, what would you like to see from your team Saturday night? What would be a best outcome for the Lions?
The same thing that we ask for them every week is that we go in there and we do the things that we can do. We play. We don't have the unforced errors. We don't false start. We don't jump off sides. We don't turn the football over. And it sounds like coach speak, but you've been around the game for so long. You know that's what lends itself to winning the league. And when you do those things, it doesn't necessarily happen on the scoreboard. Don't worry about the scoreboard. But what it will do is it's going to help you build for the future. So last week we did the same thing. A great example was us against Louisiana Tech. We turned it over 3 times, and one of them for a touchdown, and we had 9 penalties. The next week we turned it over twice, but we had 0 penalties. This past week we didn't turn it over at all and had 1 penalty. That's what I call progress.
All of them behind.
The I wasn't upset about the scoreboard in any of the games, and I know we won 2. You can say, well, yeah, that's why. But no, it was the progress that we made.
That's why I was like, holy shit,
throughout
when those picks
during the process of those games.
He just
we're
went up and
process-oriented, not goal-oriented. I want to win the game. But during the course of that game, I want us to play clean. I want us to do a good job. I want us to be able to handle the crowd noise, handle the pressure. Because we get to the playoffs, that stuff's going to come back. Not quite at that, obviously not at that level. But it's going to come back. There's going to be a lot of pressure on you and a lot of stress on you. And we want to be able to handle that. And this will give us a good example of how we can do that.
Lions have made the FCS playoffs 3 times under Coach Selfo. Here's hoping this year it'll be 4. Coach, I know it's not easy to do this on a game week, but we do sincerely appreciate a couple of minutes of your time. Good luck this weekend and moving forward the rest of the year.
Thank you, Matt, and I appreciate everything you do for us, man. I really do. We'll maybe see you on Saturday.
Would love to. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye.
That's Frank Selfo, the head coach of the Lions.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
What's your From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock. 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talkin' Tigers. Presented by Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care. With 14 locations, caring for communities near you and always available at lakeurgentcare.com. Talkin' Tigers. Linebacker, Devon Keys.
You always look forward to getting to go out and play with your brothers. It was unfortunate how it happened, but it's always next man up. We've been preaching that since the beginning of the season. You know, we have a great team. Everyone's looking forward for their chance to play, so you just got to stay ready and be ready to play with your brothers.
Running back, Jawan Johnson.
It's been quite, I'm not going to say easy because I don't want to sound like that, but it's been better for me personally because of the coaches around me and even the players, they have helped me. When I was at quarterback, Nuss, Mike, Colin, they all helped me. When I was at running back, CD to Caleb, Harlem, they all helped me. So it's been an easier process for me, just having them people around me to help me, having the coaches around to help me. I'm not going to say physically it's been easy because going from quarterback to running back it's definitely been hard condition-wise because we do a lot more running than running back for sure.
Offensive line, Tyree Adams.
For me, it's kind of just unity. We trust each other, and each and every day we're coming together as one and battling as one. Not just on the field, but off the field as well, dealing with class, dealing with just our schedule, film. So really just the unity and the trust that we have within each other.
Safety, Deshaun Spears.
Honestly, I'll probably say, though, when I caught it, everything just went blink, and I ain't hear nothing. And then probably like after the game, I was rewatching it. I was like, dang, I didn't even know it got that loud. So it's just a surreal moment for me.
Linebacker, Devon Keys.
It's really about being unselfish. We definitely have a lot of that in our room. It's everybody's playing for the team, whether it's special teams or defense. Everyone's ready for their name to be called, ready to run down on kickoff. They're ready to go in at any moment. And that's something that really gives you confidence in the linebacker room because, you know, everyone's playing for each other. No one's playing for themselves.
Running back, Jawan Johnson.
For me, I think it's been more mental, honestly. Just going from that guy in high school where I was breaking all these records, and it kind of humbled me to see that there's more players on this team that's as good or even better than me right now. So it's been humbling to just go out there and learn from those guys and my coaches.
Offensive line, Tyree Adams.
Really for us, just handling movement, handling different things that the defense can bring to us that we kind of haven't seen before, but going through this week, like just working it each and every day and like just practicing. I feel like that's going to be the edge that we get.
Safety, Deshaun Spears.
Probably belief, just believing in one another, being our brother's keeper, and just knowing that the guy beside you is going to do their job and that you're supposed to do your job, do your 111 as well. So.
Linebacker, Devon Keys.
Part of it is just a second year under Coach Baker. He learned how we learn, and he's able to tailor how he teaches the defense so we can better understand it and fly around more free. And then another part of it is just the energy. The energy has been incredible, especially compared to last year. And that's really something you look for in the defense. You want high energy so everyone's flying around and confident and having fun.
Running back, Jawan Johnson.
Well, what I thought was, if I play quarterback, I'm going to be comfortable because that's where I've been at. But it's a lot more challenging and difficult than high school and PB ball in college. So I think running back is my most comfortable position. I'm just a natural runner. I know how to hit the hole and stuff. So I think that's my most comfortable position.
Offensive line, Tyree Adams.
Man, it's really everything because it can go either way. I trust those guys with everything. If Paul goes out and Cohen comes in, if Cohen comes in and Paul goes out, it's really no change. So I feel like that's like the biggest thing that I can see, like just the consistency, the physicality, and just knowing the scheme, and I really can trust them.
Safety, Deshaun Spears.
We are building that identity of that we want of that physical defense that LSU been had and that DBU mindset that in the secondary. And that's just what we try and show every Saturday, no matter who our opponent is. So.
Talking Tigers, Eagle 98.1, Game Day.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about
98.1 Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the V. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
Rich Dixon will join me on postgame 90 minutes after the end of LSU and Southeastern. Rich, good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Just enjoying the fairgrounds at LSU.
There we go. Well, yesterday you called this a correction game, meaning some of the things that LSU needs to correct, they need to work on in this game. So tell me what some of those things are that you think they could gain some ground on tonight.
Well, the biggest thing is combination blocking. Like, I'm going to talk about the offense. There's not a lot for the defense to correct at this point. But the offense got to work on the combination block. Getting to the first read a little bit faster, just moving quick. I mean, I feel like the biggest problem we've had is, indecisiveness in throwing the ball down the field, hitting your first receiver, making the first cut, getting to your first block. These guys got to be confident in what they're doing, work on the technique, and, this is, like you said, let's go correct all the issues we've had.
As far as Garrett Nussmeier, what are you expecting from him tonight, given the nature of what Brian Kelly talked about this week with the torso injury?
Man, that's the biggest mystery that, I don't know how to talk about right now, because when we talked about earlier in the week and we're talking about that he's not going to get right until he gets the bye week, we all pushed the, why don't you give him a bye week this week? No, he's healthy enough. So, look, I'm not sure right now. I just want Garrett Nussmeier to go out there, sling it around a little bit. If he's as healthy as everybody's talking about, let's rip it down the field.
Rich, for a non-conference game against an FCS opponent, give me inside the heads of what the players are thinking before a game like this.
Let's go out there and dominate. Let's prove the reason why we're at LSU, why we're not playing for Southeastern. Show everybody, why we're here. Let's go out there and dominate real quick. Take care of business in the first half. If you got to go out there and play the first drive or the third half, steal it. But let your backups play tonight. Let's go enjoy it and watch some of your guys get on the field.
All right, Rich, we'll see you after the game for postgame.
Bye, man. See you on the bit.
Richard Dixon will be with us for Eagle 98.1 Game Day, 90 minutes after the end of LSU and Southeastern. Here at Rouse's, your game day headquarters, your tailgating headquarters. Let them cover your game day spread. All of your beer, your wine, your spirits, all of your baked goods, all of your sandwiches from the Chop House, all of your things from the Mongolian Grill, and, of course, all of your garbage bags, your paper plates, your utensils, all those things, all of your tailgating supplies here at Rouse's, a short drive from Tiger Stadium. We'll come back, take a look with Chris Blair inside the stadium. That's next here from Rouse's, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Yep, there it is. Of course.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Presented by Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Louisiana Federal Land Bank. Financing all things country.
Bears Casino countdown to kickoff about 2 hours and 25 minutes, or 2 hours and 20 minutes, excuse me. Make ESPN Bet at LeBears your game day headquarters. Auburn with a late touchdown here in the first half to tie it at 10. Oklahoma will have some time with the ball back, but I think they are now under a minute to go in that first half. And Syracuse is beating Clemson 34-21 with 2 minutes to go. Ricky Collins, former Tiger, has entered the game for Syracuse. He threw a touchdown pass. And now let's bring Chris Blair in. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. What a crazy day once again, Charlie, when it comes to college football. And I guess Dabo was right, huh? Clemson is tired of winning. This is unbelievable.
Oh, man.
I told Musso here, I said, he's starting to sound just a little bit like Steve Spurrier did toward the end of his tenure at Florida, that the wins are not fun anymore, that it's a relief when you win and it's a catastrophe when you lose. And, we've had more success here than any other coach, yet we're constantly criticized. And I'm not suggesting that I know he's not going to go to the NFL the way Spurrier did, and I'm not even suggesting he's going to go and look for another job in college somewhere, but he is starting to sound a little bit like a frustrated football coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, to watch this defense against Syracuse, I've watched most of the game, and that certainly doesn't, fit with the preseason talk. And then offensively, they just look like they're completely unsettled. So, again, maybe Florida can help the Tigers out with, a miracle tonight down in South Beach.
Chris, on Monday, Brian Kelly talked about the injury to Garrett Nussmeier really kind of in depth for the first time, and then he had to spend the rest of the week talking about it. So by the time he got to the coaches show on Thursday, the topic had been pretty well done, and he had decided by that point that Nussmeier was not only going to play, but he was going to start, and he felt really good about it. So kind of fill us in on some of the things he had to say in the coaches show on Thursday night about his quarterback.
It's interesting, Charlie. We got a little wind of an oblique injury, at fall camp, towards the end of fall camp. And again, I understand they certainly kept that close to their vest. Again, watching the first 3 weeks, I'm not telling you something you don't already know, and any other Tiger fan knows. It just, you could chalk it up to maybe some of the new receivers. They're not quite, on the same page, but there were throws that were very uncharacteristic for Garrett. Now, I can imagine anybody who's picked up a football and tried to throw it 5 yards, if you have a torso or oblique injury, or even just discomfort, just throwing the football is going to aggravate that, not to mention trying to move and get away from would-be tacklers and then the hits themselves. So, Thursday night, Coach came in, said, look, he's had a great week. Garrett tells us he feels like himself for the first time this season. And for me, going into this game against Southeastern, with no disrespect to the Lions, again, they put up a ton of points, about 50 points a game over the last 2 weeks. I think, like we say in most of these tile matchups, this is all about LSU. I mean, this is a get-right week to try to get some rhythm, try to get some flow. And if Garrett feels closer to 100%, I think then we're starting to zero in on an offense that put up 5,000 yards last year, 47 touchdowns, and averaged 30 points a game. And goodness knows, with all the controversy last week after the win, albeit maybe not as pretty as we'd like to see it offensively, to me, this is the game to start heading in that direction.
So what does getting right look, the quarterback aside, what does getting right look like in your eyes? Because it's all on the offensive side. The defense plays exactly the way they had the first 3 weeks, and they're fine. But on the offensive side?
I just think it's a little bit of a flow, and I think it's play calling. I will give LSU some credit. Some of the bigger plays last week against Florida, as I'm sure you've talked about, were across the middle of the field. Some of that was due to the outside zone runs, and some of it has been set up by the screen pass kind of being an extension of the run. And then suddenly you got some green grass in the middle, and you hit a big one to Bauer Sharp. You hit one, obviously, to Aaron Anderson, and then you had a throw in the middle to get that touchdown to Xavier Thomas. I just think you're trying to set some things up. You're trying to bait a defense into something, and goodness knows, again, taking nothing away from the Lions, your defense opposition is going to start ramping up week after week after week starting next week. So I think it's not just all on Garrett. I talked to Coach Kelly Thursday night we talk about the outside zone run game and the ability of Durham and Harlem Berry and even Caleb Jackson to be able to, try to get to the outside, take inside and then cut it out. And I asked him, is there a danger in not allowing the patience to let that hole open in the strong side or to the side you want to run the football? And he said there is a danger in that, and we've talked about that with our running backs. It's not always the plan to take it one way and then cut it back. And there were a couple of opportunities against Florida where I think they gave up on the whole opening before they were able certainly to get to the second level. And for me, the run game will start to get better, and it will make Garrett's job easier. It will loosen up the receivers a little bit if you can just get to the second level, because I think all of our running backs, when they get there, can make dynamic plays.
Harlem Berry is a name that a very popular name. When you mention players that they would like to get into the game tonight, should LSU establish a big enough lead, who are some of the other players besides him that you might like to see that maybe we haven't had a chance to see a lot of yet?
Yeah, I think there's a number of guys. I think both of these teams, Charlie, come in kind of with the same mindset. I think Coach Selfo wants to come in and basically say, look, let's do what we're going to do the rest of the season. We don't need to change our game plan. Let's get out of this injury-free and take our check, head back to Hammond. I think for LSU, this is an opportunity. Last week you kind of had to bring in some young players, certainly at the linebacker position. But I think both sides of the ball, you've got an opportunity tonight to get Kyle Parker involved. He's had a couple of targets. He's missed on a couple of catches. But I think he's got the ability to make plays at the wide receiver position. I think Nick Anderson, we haven't seen a whole lot of him. And his kind of bread and butter is to stretch the field. And it goes back to what I said earlier. I just think this is an opportunity for that entire wide receiver room and Garrett Nussmeier to kind of show what they can do to kind of loosen up some defense, because through the first 3 weeks, and certainly I'll give Clemson's defense some credit in week one, and I think Florida's defense is very good last week. I think you're just, you kind of manage the game based on what the defense gave you. I don't know that you're going to have that type of opposition tonight. And so I think you'll see a number of guys, hopefully, that get plenty of playing time, because I think the plan is we need Garrett to get these reps before. I think taking a week off just to heal, if he could play, is a mistake when you got to go on the road and take on an Ole Miss team that certainly will put up some points and you'll have to answer. But I certainly think we're going to see some young guys, including Michael Van Buren and others, get into that offense. If the plan goes the way they want it to, I don't want to see a number of starters in there after maybe the first series of the third quarter.
I'd like to add Carius Kern and Cohen Eccles to your list of young players I'd like to see tonight. Chris, what's coming up? About 15 minutes. We'll hand it over to you guys. What's coming up on Network Pregame?
Yeah, well, certainly got a great guest this week. Jay Johnson's gonna stop by, talk to the guys, and with fall ball cranking up, and it's interesting because my guess is, and I'm going to go out on a limb, Charlie. My guess is he doesn't want to talk to Hunt too much about the 2025 national championship, because that is in the rear view, and now they're gearing up for 2026. But it'll be great to have Jay back on there. Going to spend a little extra time with him, kind of talking about what the makeup of this team will look like based on, the returners, which is another great core, And then these big wins we've seen over the last couple of weeks of who he's bringing in and who's going to be on campus, and not only for this coming year, but down the road. So always great to have a two-time national champion head coach join you.
Thing about Hunt is he doesn't pay much attention to baseball, so he's had
True.
to spend a lot of time researching.
A lot of prep done for this one.
I'm sure Jay will take it easy on him.
Yeah, Hunt lives for LSU baseball. All right, Chris. Hey, one last thing. You seen a peek at the end of throwbacks tonight in the alternate uniforms, whatever you want to call them?
I've heard just walking around this week, but nobody could verify. So one of the things that this campus is buzzing pretty good today, which is great. When you got a 3-0 team, it's great to see fans still want to show up when it's the SEC versus the Southland. And I think that's part of the reason. But I have no inside information. I haven't seen anything. So, as we say in our business, guys, stay tuned.
And put Gordy Rush on the case. He's down there. Maybe find out something for us.
He's always in the locker room. He'll know.
All right, Chris, thanks. Have a great call, and we'll talk to you next week from Oxford.
All right, gentlemen.
We'll come back and we'll give you our final scoreboard update here at Rouse's, where they want to cover your game day spread. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln on airline under the giant American flag.
All right, we start with a game that has just gone final at Clemson, South Carolina. Syracuse beats Clemson 34-21. Clemson drops to 1-3 on the season, but the cost for Syracuse could be huge. Musso, Steve Angeli, who we talked about it during the show today, is off to a phenomenal start. Syracuse left with a non-contact injury. Doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. It's to his left leg that he already has the brace on. He was rolling out to his right and went to tuck the ball and run and just went down. He was helped off the field, no weight on the left leg, and then headed to the locker room on crutches. That's you hate to see that, man. He's been awesome.
Ricky Collins, a former LSU Tiger and the Woodlawn player, went into the game. He did throw a touchdown pass in Syracuse's win over Clemson. All right, early fourth quarter scores. Number 6 Oregon leads Oregon State 38-7. Dante Moore's thrown 4 touchdown passes there. Number 7 Florida State leads Kent State 41-7. They got an extra point to come. About 2 minutes to go to the half there. At halftime in Norman, number 11 Oklahoma, number 22 Auburn are tied at 10. Jackson Arnold has thrown a touchdown pass for Auburn, and and John Mateer has thrown one for Oklahoma. They have started the third quarter in Oxford. Ole Miss, 13th ranked, leads Tulane 23-3. The Wave does have a second and goal inside the 5-yard line of the Ole Miss Rebels. Make it third and goal now. Early third quarter, number 21 Michigan and Nebraska are tied at 17. Bryce Underwood has a rushing touchdown. Dylan Raiola for Nebraska has a couple of touchdown passes. Number 24 Notre Dame leads Purdue 28-13. That game is now in a weather delay. We've got that going on quite a few places in the country right now. I believe they had started the third quarter there, or they may be late in the second quarter. I'm not certain, but they're in a rain delay. UCF leads North Carolina 20-3. That is at the half. Third quarter scores: UConn leads Ball State 17-7. James Madison and Liberty are tied at 10. Eastern Michigan leads UL Lafayette 21-17. Buffalo leads Troy 14-0. Toledo leads Western Michigan 10-0. Ohio leads Gardner-Webb 31-21. NC State leads Duke 20-14 as we shift to second quarter scores. About 40 seconds to go in the first half there. North Carolina State again leads 20-14 over Duke. Mississippi State leads Northern Illinois only 14-10 though. They're at the 2-minute warning in Starkville. Idaho leads San Jose State 7-0 in the first quarter. And also in the first quarter, number 18 Georgia Tech leads Temple 14-0. Haynes King has a touchdown passing and a touchdown running. Earlier finals today, number 15 Tennessee beat UAB 56-24. It was number 17 Texas Tech over number 16 Utah 34-10. 24 points in the fourth quarter for the Red Raiders, who go to 4-0. Memphis came from 18 down to beat Arkansas 32-31 in a game that featured nearly 1,000 yards of total offense. Maryland beat Wisconsin 27-10. Virginia Tech, interim coach, they beat Wofford 38-6 for their first win of the season. TCU beat SMU 35-24. Josh Hoover threw for 379 yards and 5 touchdown passes for the Horned Frogs. Louisville beat Bowling Green 40-17. UNLV a late field goal to beat Miami of Ohio 41-38. North Texas beat Army in overtime 45-38. South Florida over South Carolina State 63-14. In that game, Byron Brown threw for 236 yards but 4 touchdown passes. And Central Michigan beat Wagner 49-10, and that is your college football scoreboard. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up here from Rouse's Burbank and Lee. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your Game Day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp 98.1.
All right, wrapping up here at Rouse's. LSU's next opponent after Southeastern is Ole Miss. They've been in command all day against Tulane. 23-3 is the score. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Ole Miss just turned away a goal line opportunity for Tulane. So Ole Miss is going to win this game. And not only that, but I think we've, well, let me not speak for you, Musso. I've decided that the quarterback that is playing now is better than the quarterback that was playing before. Who they see next week, we got a whole week to talk about that. But Trinidad Chambliss has looked better than Austin Simmons.
Yeah, I think so
to this point. All right, your thoughts on the game tonight?
Yeah, you need to go dominate. I mean, are you going to learn anything from it? Probably not, but it's just kind of one of those things for me, Hanny, where sometimes the number 3 team in the country has to finally look like the number 3 team in the country, especially against inferior competition. Just, one of those, see, you're capable of this type moments. Maybe build some confidence. Sometimes you need to name your score, and this is one of those times. Of course, stay healthy, please. The last time you did this, Braylon Moore went down on the first play. I don't need to see that ever again. But for me, Go impose your will. Does it really mean anything for the long term of the season? Probably not. But, man, optics matter at some points, and I think this is actually one of those points.
It may. You are in a no-win situation. If you look good, you're supposed to look good. If you don't, then it's, potentially catastrophic. I think that at the end of the night when we watch Florida again, if they lose tonight, you're going to have some real questions about LSU's resume and who exactly have you beaten now with this Clemson loss. This is a 2-score loss at home for Clemson. So you're going to have those questions whether, whatever happens here, regardless. So go ahead and play well and get that over with. And, of course, a lot of eyes on Garrett Nussmeier and how he will get through tonight. Thanks to our friends here at Rouse's. Always wonderful pregame hosts here. Let them cover your game day spread. Come over here and get all of your supplies for tailgate in just a very short drive to Tiger Stadium. For Musso and all of us here at Rouse's and everybody back at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.